Get timid if I say Black City, I'm talking about Kemet. If I say Black City, I'm talking about Kemet. Primary research and we done pushed it to the limits. All you dudes finished. The king counting cattle up with brother Reggie. When I'm in Oakland, smoking, bro, they love the Chevy. Back in the day, it was the spokes on the chariot. Long procession when the king got carried out to Gary Spot. Looking nice as ISIS. I read ancient texts, so my advice is priceless. Nubian gold. Your ice don't entice us. Beating me harder than counting grains in your spices. Your heart was beating, but your brain dead. You're lifeless. Yo, they ain't nothing like us, yo. Don't try to make me mad. Make me smile and say you love me, man. That's real right there. Yeah, come on. You should listen to your main man's advice. Do a YouTube and apologize like Dice. Or the back fade coming like the Antichrist. Egyptologists sent me reading and said that I'm nice. I got a speller with your name on it. I'm like Sargon. You the type of dude wake up and your car gone. Told because of the money you owe. Before you stream, you should clean up that humble abode. Like Akhenaten City for my woman in gold. I keep the pseudos running, people coming in droves. You catch me on a live stream with Pan-African James. When we building, call us by our African names. I'm for the children. And ain't nothing happen to change. We on that black hype, so we still packing them things for protection. Got connections. My complexion, pure black, that's the S. Make me smile. You love me? Show me some love. All right.
Oh yeah. What up? Do. I'm just gonna go throw one more tune on. Let's get it poppin'.
Yeah, and I'ma work cause I ain't going out lazy, bruh. Thought he was conscious, but the homie just played me, bruh. The house of consciousness is going out crazy, bruh. They crazy, bruh. Alright, it's getting kinda dirty in these YouTube streets. The Amon-Ra squad, God thinking you dudes weak. Islam or Judaism, where you learn what you dudes teach. The West African rapper slapping with that voodoo speech. All that sub-Saharan terror about a kufu feet. I'm like Norma, that agricultural farmer that grew you wheat for the storehouses. We feed the Hebrews and lead the people when we defeat the feeble. They wanna know polite rip me off, but Sonetta paid me my money though. That mean he 100. And I'ma work cause I ain't going out lazy, bruh. Thought he was conscious, but the homie just played me, bruh. The house of consciousness is going out crazy, bruh. They crazy, bruh. Nubian with the Jews, I rock the pinky. I think Jesus got to save me, a doctor save me, a Dr. Inky. I cop the copper jewels on blue and red. I'm not the chakra doctor y'all claim woke, but you in bed, you won't pop a chopper, you Grandmaster J. You just talking. Punks turn the other cheek and you will walk away. Y'all gon' have to pardon my Moorish. That's Taharka Bay. I'm on that black African power on my darkest day. And that's my brother Ankh stomping them other punks. We brought them gators to Italy, you loving the Moors. And now I'm teaching from my shrine like brother Jabari. Scoping the savannah cause I'm on another safari. Tasha K showed us Frank record. Young Pharaoh just losing his mind and y'all can't help him. I know one thing, you're a fool if you're still out here donating to Umar school. That shit cool. And I'ma work cause I ain't going out lazy, bruh. Thought he was conscious, but the homie just played me, bruh. The house of consciousness is going out crazy, bruh. They crazy, bruh. Look. You showing your hidden colors like Tariq Nasheed. A bunch of pseudo information I don't think I need. Probably lying on the text, ask Divine or Zion Lax. Just get that microphone ready. With Medunetta, I'm Stone Jetty. A Ujahu, a Saw Imhotep. Y'all probably timid still on them Bobby Hemmett teachings. I'm in Gozy with the DNA. Cats corny and it's killing me too. You talk that black shit, but you look Arab like Gorilla Hebrew. You need therapy, they telling me just chillin', be cool. I'm a magi archer, you a sad guy talking. And I'ma work cause I ain't going out lazy, bruh. Thought he was conscious, but the homie just played me, bruh. The house of consciousness is going out crazy, bruh. They crazy, bruh.
Shout out to Skinny Head. Skinny Head say the new verses off the chain. Let me show you something. You can go hear all this stuff. Let me see. You right, it's new because I ain't put it out like the hip hop. I just be doing my streaming, and I made an album with a lot of streaming content. So let me see if I can share that for you. Bop, bop. Oh, I always got my monitors wrong. Hold on. Do, boop, boop, boop. What's up, people, this morning? You can cop that album. You can listen to that, cop that, do what you need to do. Right on my Bandcamp, Casual One Bandcamp. All right, here's a question from Mark White. Shout out to Mark White. He says, let me get back over here. Mark White says, when are you going to start debating these white scholars like Bart Ehrman on the race of blacks concerning Canaanites and ancient Egyptians? You're qualified to do so. All right, thank you. I don't care what color somebody is that I'm debating, right? I look at, what their training is. Whether they're an independent researcher, academic scholar, or whatever. You know what I mean? But I don't really have information concerning the Canaanites. I definitely have information concerning ancient Egyptians. As far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, at least, ancient Egyptians presented and represented themselves in different ways than they represented people from the Levant. And they look different. But we could talk about that. We're going to get to that. It's all good. Shout out for the question. So what it been doing? Oh, I just put up them topics I was thinking about. I ain't really, golly. I mean, Shannon Sharp, dog. That's just the old man. Ain't nobody tripping up, man. That's just some classic stupid stuff. Ain't nothing wrong with being 56 and single, right? And then that's totally nothing wrong with that. Then being 56, single, and mingle, okay. But now you just all over the place. Why you even gotta be on OnlyFans if you that rich? I don't know how this stuff work. Like, I don't get it. And then you getting like, oh man, I don't even, it's just so bad. I was more looking at the draft and looking at your boy Shadur and was just seeing, his mannerisms as he was watching that he was not getting drafted that early. You feel me? And I was just like, hold tight. Being the first draft pick would have been too much pressure anyway. Actually, being a high draft pick, you don't want that confirmation and that. You want to go uphill and against the grain. So your motivation is coming from you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just saying, giving them some juices. Like your motivation should be coming from you being the best kept secret and they sleeping on you. And even Tom Brady, he went sixth, seventh round or so. I don't know what round he went. A lot of people went late in the draft, so that's nothing to be tripping off. But anybody see that and tripped off that though? I was like, okay, they talking about they doing him bad because of some stuff his father said was whatever. It's good. That wasn't even nothing. You already rich. You know what I'm saying? You could get into the NFL, do what you got to do, whatever. But the Shadur and the Shannon, they just both had S's, so they was right on my tongue. I ain't got nothing to say about no Shannon. I'm gonna be studying in 5 minutes. And your music is banging. Keep producing it. Thank you, Mark White. I appreciate that. I really do. You know what I mean? I've been making music for a long time, and you know, it's glad that it ain't fell off, basically. Indigenous African in the building. What's up? What's up with the people in the building? All right, I'm gonna see what I can pull up real quick because I want to run into the other room. So let me see something. I'm just looking through old clips of vids I had up there. You know. What all supernatural stuff do you think real and fake? That's a funny question. What all supernatural stuff you think is real or fake? I don't know. Supernatural. I think it's natural even if we don't understand it. You know what I mean? I know what you mean by supernatural, but I'm just looking at the definition of the word or the breakdown of the word. And I think it's still natural. You know what I mean? Like even if it's extraterrestrial, that just means not from this land or earth.
He wore the tie.
But it still have to deal with nature, right? So paranormal, I don't know. But I don't think we got an explanation for everything, and I don't think that we could sense everything with the senses that we were given. So I ain't even tripping. All right, this was good. I can play this for a second. I just want to run to the other room. I'm going to play this for a minute. This was old school Christopher Eric. And I ain't played this in a minute. The Africanity of Ancient Egypt. I'm just throwing this on just so y'all can get some bars real quick while I step out the room. We're going to like the video, do whatever. Put up a comment. Do whatever to let the people know we live. And listen to this game that he give y'all in this quick 5-10 minutes to see if you learn something. Not even 5-10 minutes. See if you learn something. I hope it's loud enough.
I want, as I've been doing, to again thank the Hutchins Center, the Center for African Studies, and all the variety of people from Professor Gates and Abby Wolf on through all the great people that I've been working with that are on their team. It's been a great experience, and this is an honor to me and a great time I've certainly been having. I hope I can make it at least of some interest to you as well. So let's see if I still have my little clicker so we can change scenes. So my beginning comment here, ancient Egypt was in Africa. We can't really doubt that, can we? It's in the continent. But more important, ancient Egypt was of Africa. And that, of course, is not the way the past 2 centuries of Western scholarship have generally presented its history. It's long past time, I would say, for all of us to discard a whole set of old notions about Egypt, notions rooted in really the self-serving racialist presumptions of 19th century Europeans, notions that only too often people even today simply assume. They've never thought to examine those ideas. They're back in the background, informing our minds even when we're not aware they are. And on the historical and the scholarly level, that re-examination is underway. The most recent, maybe we should say generations, the last 30 years or so, of scholars and scholarship on Nubia and Egypt are bringing together a whole new body, and maybe I should say whole new bodies of evidence, revealing the African rootedness of pre-dynastic and early dynastic Egyptian culture. By the way, this is just going off here for a second. Some of you may have seen or heard about a recent genetics article that makes the ancient Egyptians out to be Levantines. Let me be very clear, these findings come from one locale in a large stretch of possible locales in northern Egypt, and the finds date well after the foundational periods of ancient Egypt. It's somewhat as if, I was thinking of this particular image, rather than investigating DNA from a 17th century cemetery in Plymouth, we instead choose to investigate DNA from a later 19th century cemetery in South Boston. And then we conclude, having done that the United States was founded by people of Irish descent, and that Americans were predominantly, are predominantly Irish. Well, that isn't necessarily how the writers of the article meant it to be interpreted, but that's certainly the way I've had people interpreting it to me. Even someone with a Coptic, seemed to be a Coptic last name from the sounds of things, berating me for being such a terrible human being all these years of my whole career, forever having thought of Egypt as being African. So anyway, there is a deeper problem here. Genetics may be able to tell us about the different elements in our individual genetic, physical ancestries that we may have partaken, come from in our individual selves. But genes do not at all determine language. It's our own historical, cultural, life experiences, personal
I didn't know about
that determine what language you speak.
I didn't know about the conference in the city. I didn't get a heads up, or I missed it. I had to check my other email, but I didn't even know about it. I'm probably gonna miss that.
Not our genes. And we need only look around at each other here in the room to know the truth of that. And it is these experiences also that shape our culture choices and our choice of cultural self-identification. Again, not our genes, it's our historical and cultural experiences. Now, the stories that I want to tell today explore the developments that laid the cultural and language foundations of ancient Egypt.
I'm gonna go and let him finish where he said it come
sometimes
from.
long before 3100 BCE. Now, the foundational areas.
So hold up. When somebody, I know I didn't even get the heads up on that RC event. Now, if somebody tell you where a language come from, they lightweight telling you where the people come from, because languages don't just get to places by themselves. So let's listen to what he's telling you.
Of Egypt also, of ancient Egypt, also encompass not northern Egypt, but a whole range of lands extending far across northeastern Africa. And there are actually two ancient Egyptian foundational stories that I'd like to tell, and so that gives me an opportunity to change our slide. Well, one of these we might call the deep time story, the story of cultural and historical developments from the 6th millennium on down to around 3100 BCE. And the setting of this story was what was then a wide swath of steppe grassland, not some narrow strip of habitable land just along the river, extending for more than 1,000 kilometers, extending north-south from beyond the confluence of the Blue and White Nile in the south to as far north as the archaeological sites at El Badari in Middle Egypt. It was this vast stretch of lands that constituted the foundational cultural regions and the cultural heartland of pre-dynastic Egypt. But there is also a second story, what one might call the way deep time story, with its beginnings before 15,000 BCE. And the setting for the way deep time story takes us even farther south in northeastern Africa. So to give things their proper historical order, let's do first things first. Let's begin with that earlier way deep story. In doing so, we'll consider the kinds of historical evidence that I'm particularly known for applying, comparative linguistic and cultural evidence, along with archaeology. To excavate this history, we must set out, first of all, the language relationships of ancient Egyptian. Now, ancient Egyptian belonged to the Afroasiatic language family. Small digression here. There is an older name for the Afroasiatic family, a horrendously bad name. The alternative name, Hamito-Semitic. You recognize the name Ham, of course, here in Hamito. To still use that name today is to perpetuate the horrific invention by racists of a myth used to justify enslaving Africans. And it's the slaver's own myth, it's not truly biblical, that Ham was the ancestor of all Africans, so they could get the Africans they wanted into their myth. That God had passed Noah's curse on to Ham's supposed descendants by giving them dark skins. And even more horrifying to me, still in our own day, I've been discovering there are only too many American fundamentalist Christians who still hold to this myth.
It's true.
It's real.
It's true. Thank you for watching that. It's true what he's saying, though. He was giving up game about where this language started, the ancient Egyptian language started. And he tell you right there, man, check this out. This started way deep down in Africa. Way deep down in Africa. Thank you. That is Dr. Christopher Ehret, the Africanity of Egypt, was his lecture 5 years ago at the Hutchinson Center. You can find that on YouTube. So, you know what I mean? Oh, man. All this stuff happening. What's up with your boy Kanye? You know, I go into my, I hear a statement like that, I go into my therapeutic. Yeah, Dr. Christopher Ehret. When I hear stuff like Kanye's song, I go into my therapeutic, or, you know, you start to try to be a psychologist or something. Don't we all? We try to figure out, like, what the heck's going on. But looking at his I don't even care if that's true or not. Like, I just guess I'm at an age where that information, that ain't even information I would remember. You know, the brain ain't even stored, it ain't set up to remember irrelevant information. And that's not nothing I would naturally remember, because that's just such nothing that'll help my life. It won't do nothing for me to know that information, right? And so looking at Kanye's his antics, I kind of think, whether it's true or not, I think he kind of like is exploiting that information, right? I mean, it's not, because just think about it. There's a process to putting out a song that a person as big as Kanye can't really circumvent that process. So if it was indeed something about therapy, it would be about first getting it out, right? Getting it out, saying it out loud. I'm just trying to be therapeutic. Like I said, I'll get all philosophical and try to figure some shit out. And I'm just trying to figure it out. first it would be about saying it out your mouth, out loud, right? And when he said it out loud on his mic on the track, what part of the therapy is releasing it to the public? Real talk. You can say, no, that is indeed a part of the therapy that he needs to go through when dealing with those situations. This has to be released to the public so that he can mentally calm down or whatever, right? I don't see that as no doctor saying that part. I think if it's done and him trying to remedy some demons in his head or whatever, his therapy was saying it out of his mouth, right? Shout out to the Black Raven for that contribution. So when he therapeutically said what he had to say to get whatever relief he wanted, why did the song have to continue going through the process? Like mixing, mastering, you see what I mean? Releasing vinyl or whatever the case. That part make me think like it's exploited information. And just last week, he had on a black Ku Klux Klan. Just last week, he had on a black Ku Klux Klan outfit. Then now he's trying to get black people wearing swastikas. And be having so-called weird parties in Los Angeles. Man, dude about to go out like Jim Jones, bruh. Dude might be about to go out like something else, but I just don't, the information, he wasn't talking about being accosted or aggressed upon or molested. He wasn't talking about none of that. He was talking about decisions he made that he probably, it seems like therapy, some mental issue make him want to share that with the people. But when analyzing that, I can't see how you finally get your therapeutic relief once the song's release date hit the airwaves. It hit the airwaves and now you're mentally satisfied. No, that's nonsense. So that's just how I feel about that. Run 10 miles is great therapy. Boy, you make it 10 miles, you definitely done thought about all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Yeah. And then what your boy Trump doing on his tariffs? Man, I'm just sitting here waiting for that to be over, and it ain't over yet. And it's just so shocking how life is. Like, you can make a business plan, try to do a business maneuver, and some unexpected nonsense, governmental nonsense will just pop out the way and block your ambitions for prosperity. Like, that is nonsense. Like, I'm like, serious? So then all the markets start going back up, crypto start going back up because Trump say the tariffs is too high, but he ain't took them down. But he talking about they too high and I'm like, this is all, they just yanking America all left and right. You know what I'm saying? Doing what they want to do. It's nonsense. Well, somebody asked me about the question earlier, then he switched up to what I believe about things paranormal. Yeah, like I said, I don't believe we can sense everything with the senses that we've been given. So it might be some things that occur in our life that appear paranormal. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. Beyond what's normal. Like, right? And so, yeah, definitely. I believe in that. Yeah. I don't know, but a lot of us have been done with Kanye a long time ago. He's just a public figure, like, exploiting his position. Ain't nobody been thinking about Kanye like that. Yeah, that chain Yankee. Soon as he said that crypto go from 83,000, our Bitcoin go from 83,000 to 94, like in one day. And his token go up 50%, they say. That's crazy. So one thing I've been noticing, it might not appear apparent, but because of this America First stuff is crazy. That ain't even the read. I'm just thinking that's the whole problem. Because it really is just a sham. If you look into the technologies do you remember when we were living in the most technologically advanced society? Y'all got to go through y'all memory. You know, the 80s, we definitely had that popping. The 90s too, probably. Now, the 90s, we probably started losing it. I know we was losing it in the 90s because that was my first time going to Japan. In 1994, I think. And it might have been later, but it was 94. And it felt like I went to the future. It felt like I had literally went to the future. In 92, all they billboards was digital. It looked like they had digital LEDs back in 92. Right? So think about it, how we ride around and we in our houses and we thinking we in like a poppin' society. We really not. I mean, I'm not going there. But the more you travel the world, the more you realize we've been propagandized to believe that we living like in the land of milk and honey. Then everybody working all day and trying to find another way to make it. How's the land of milk and honey if you got to think of some other way to make it? Somebody said that Kanye is a clone. Sankofa said it. What's up with Sankofa? Peace to you. Is that Kanye a clone? I don't know if that Kanye a clone. Shesmu Patar Ahmed says Africa's on the rise. There are particular parts of Africa that are on the rise. Hey, trip off this. I just be tripping. Y'all gonna get all smart and technical with me, but just let me say some little shit real quick. China is a country. Africa a continent. But I'm just saying, now you can say China a continent too, you're gonna talk about Asia. But think about that big ass country. I told you it sounds simple, but if you really think about it, it's like, dang, I really never tripped that they whole continent, basically, not the whole continent, but they came the whole continent as one country. While Africa ain't came the whole continent as one country. And then we gonna call these states. See, it's simple, but I told you, it's like, dang, I never tripped, though. They really took that whole continent and it was like this the country. Who else did that? Russia couldn't get that far. But anyway, it's hard to beat that kind of like to a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? India too. Well, India probably would be considered, well, I don't know about the continents. What continent India on? Asia, right? So in a sense, they didn't take the whole thing, but I mean, god dang. North America is split up into 3 countries. You know what I'm saying? Imagine if we just had the whole North America. Oh, well, that's true. I mean, it still wouldn't even, the size of Asia is crazy. India as well as part of the central bank. Okay, give me some game. You know what I'm saying? Wake my game up. But all I know about that tariffs, I'll end on that, is that it's not, you might think it ain't affecting everybody. They just had a meeting with Trump that said if we don't pull this back, by the summertime, we're going to have empty shelves in some stores. And it's going to be looking like COVID. So, it's crazy out there. It is. Pretty much the whole continent of Africa is assimilated as one congressional committee. China is not that wild. Oh, okay, I hear you. So on that congressional committee, what is that, the African Union? Or let me know how that's going down. And the European Union, I mean, I guess taking templates after the European Union. Whole Foods just closed down in Cupertino. Do that got something to do with the tariffs, you think? I don't know if that got something to do with the tariffs, but Whole Foods is up under that Amazon wing, right? And Amazon talking about 73% of their products is about to be affected. I hear you. Africa is of British Union states. What is that? British, all right, I'm gonna have to look all that up and learn. Maybe you could come on the show one day and spit game on that right there. Or teach us about that. Teach me particularly. I ain't even tripping though. It's just early. Wanted to get up, do a little quick stream. I'll probably be on for a minute. So I don't know, man. One day we about to get, I just been waiting the news. I kind of like been falling asleep listening to news because I'm just waiting for the news that Trump lift them tariffs. It's probably going to happen Monday or Tuesday, whatever. Right? And then everything be trying to go good again. Yes, the WW contracts article, the state under LLC. I don't know what's good with that. Oh, you saying the British Union states? All right, I don't know. It's cool. Yeah, man. So basically, Kanye just exploiting some old. I'm just going through the list of stuff I was talking about. Kanye exploiting some. I mean, maybe if it happened, it happened. Seek therapy, whatever you need for the situation, it's fine. But the way that he did it, it wasn't take. It ain't taken as genuine to me. It's not cool. Shannon Sharp situation is way too little kid childish. Like he like on some immature level of. He's what we call game goofy. He's not game tight. He don't understand situations, trade, and that's just a problem. You know what I'm saying? The tariffs, I hope they stop. Then I put Kemet, and that's what I'll talk about forever. You feel me? So I'm about to get ready. I'm about to look at some stuff, see what's up. My man was asking me some questions, but I think he's going to do a show on that, so I might hold off on that. Let me see. Somebody's dog's outside fighting, going at it. Let's see what I can find. I don't know. I'm on this old thing. Yeah, y'all. I don't. That stuff was foolish. Legit. I don't know how to say on that right, but you're right. You're right. He's done. He's fried. I feel like. I wish. I mean, I hate to say it. it sounds like hatership, but I wish he didn't get as much press. You know, maybe for his music, I don't mind how much press he get, but just for being, I wish he wasn't in the news. He's not a good representative of any type of anything. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's my comments on that. Last time, we was looking at the Red Land. I might open the link a little later, maybe. Last time we was looking at the use cases of the Red Land in ancient Egypt, and we're tripping off how they use the Red Land, and to say, oh look, it's the Red Land, it's the Black Land. And so this is the reason why they know that it's about the land. But one thing I was tripping off in the TLA is that I couldn't even find. You can find it translated that way, but you can't find a definition of Jesheret as the Red Land. Right? Normally you look it up, they just say the desert. So I trip off that. Like right here, this is the one, and this is something else to trip off. Jesheret with deserts, foreign country, only has 35 use cases in the TLA. Let me switch the screen, I'm tripping. That 35 use cases is hella limited. So look at this. Y'all telling me, because I'm just looking at, I always start off with the simple statistical survey, right? So we've been saying that Kemet could mean the Black community because of the people, the Black city because of the people that was there. And they say, no, it means the Black land because of the Black earthy silt. And we asked for their first evidence of that. They don't have no primary evidence of that. We asked for their secondary source. We asked for some, not secondary source, but how they come to this conclusion. And they say it is because they find Kemet in juxtaposition to Jesheret, or opposite Jesheret. So red and black. They know Jesheret is the desert. And if you look at the sand, it's kind of red. And they know Kemet is not the desert. And if you look at the soil on the inner banks of Egypt, it's black. So because they find Jesheret opposite Kemet in so many use cases, that's how they know. But look at the first thing that we come across when we come into the TLA. Until we find other use cases, the text corpus only has 35 uses of Jesheret. You start to go into these 35, all of them ain't even going to be with it in juxtaposition to Kemet. Look, the first use case they have in here coming from the 12th dynasty, crazy enough. because I guess the desert just turned to the red desert in the 12th dynasty. In the 11th dynasty, what was it? This is how I be saying this stuff don't make no sense. That's like us starting to just say the Bay Area, not even the Bay Area. That's just like us starting to call the desert last week. What did we call the desert before we called it the desert? It was always the desert as far as we know, and this is what I'm trying to say. What would cause them in the 12th dynasty to now come up with this name for this red soil in this desert? Now, you might can find Jeshurun. I always have to give this disclaimer. You might can find it in the text corpus way before the 12th, not in the text corpus because we're looking, but you might find it in other sources before the 12th dynasty. But here we see it. It's not in juxtaposition to black land. Let's look at the second attestation. And you can look at the text down here. This word is Jeshurun is going to correspond to something you see about deserts. So I'm looking at about the placement of it, and I don't even see, look, here we go. Desert. It says Rin Sheti, whatever that is. How do you, TJ, Jed, that, whatever. Minerals from the hill of the desert and consisting of staffs of rock shot, whatever, right? But the point is, in the first two attestations, they just talking about the desert. And it is not in juxtaposition to. Now we find it in the 12th dynasty. Same dynasty. And one of the third attestations where we see leaders of the black lands. This is how they translate it. This is their translation. Leaders of the black lands and of the red lands. If I make this bigger, you're going to start to notice some simple stuff. Watch this. So this is your word for leaders over here. See the two faces? Harry Tep is like a leader. Now, this is just simply an N, but it is right now being used as a genitive. Well, it's being used as a genitive adjective, right? I'm saying adjective, but I'm probably messing that up. It's being used for possession to say ni. Ni means belonging to. So if these are the leaders belonging to, you could also say of for belonging to. Now it just say leader, it's not leaders. Leader belonging to. Now I want y'all to look at this. Right here they say black lands. But right here you see the word for black, Kemet, and 3 049 glyphs. 3 circles with an X in them. It would just indicate, I don't know why they would be trying to indicate plurality here. But I don't know. It's an old kingdom way to say 3 strokes, basically. They didn't write 3 strokes. They would put the determinative 3 times. But you clearly see an X with a circle there. And if we know that this word means black, and we see black right here, then we have to deduce that it's these 3 circles that they're translating to lands. But if we continue to the next word, Jeshurun, and they got a plural on there, so they're saying Kemet to you, And just charette to you, this is what they're saying it says because they put the PL at the end. Now that's even more a problem. But we ain't gonna even trip off that. I'm just gonna keep going. What you do see is you don't see these circles with the X behind this one. Behind this one, you see 3 hillside mountains. But they saying that this means lands too. So in literal interpretation of this, I mean, it's not scientifically, this translation ain't scientific. Because only in, I will click the definition of Jeshurun. It's only 35 of them in here. If we look through every one thing we'll see is the fix is in. When they find Jeshurun close to the word Kemet, they translate these 3 as lands, only in that instance. In other places, they're just going to translate this as desert. And so that's something to trip off. But one thing you can notice is if this was scientific, 049, these 3 circles would have to mean lands in translation or represent lands, and as well as this Kasak glyph, which I can't remember its designation. It is N25, right? N25. Yeah, it would have to be saying land as well. But what this is saying, hillside or foreign country, and this says city center or a town or community gathering type place. And that was the 3rd attestation in the TLA coming from Simroset time period. This is one to scrutinize, so let's go into this. I'm gonna go back a little bit just so we can see what they were saying right before that. All right, it says, who pacifies the Asiatics are the rebels from or on account of their actions. A potent on the 2 banks. The 2 banks is a nickname for Egypt at this time. Yeah, it's hella German translations in these. As a matter of fact, Germans did a lot of work in Egyptology, so some of the source material goes back to German, and they even help in this text corpus, if I'm not incorrect. So he's a potent on the 2 banks. Leader of the black lands and of the red lands is what they say. And one who gives orders in Upper Egypt and controls the herd list of Lower Egypt. We could go through all this. I trust their translations. Into whose light everyone walks, captain of the Reketi people, who gives nourishment and promotes offices, master of counsels, great of love, blah, blah, blah. They're just giving him props, right? But we do read leader of the black lands. So what does this mean? So let's go back to it a little bit more. To analyze this Kemet, you have to trip off everything. This definition says the black. In parentheses, it says fruit lands. The parentheses is their interpretation. The translation is literally the black. So when you see Kemet, you could say the black. It was Dr. Jonathan Winneman who told us we could say the most accurate translation right now would probably be that which is black. right? And there you go, Shazmu. You don't lead soil. You don't. You don't lead soil. You don't lead deserts. If you're the leader of the black and the red, even if you want to make those teams or whatever, you're talking about people being led, right? Ruled over. But I still want to analyze it from the way that I previously spoke upon it. I just was saying that right now. Let me see. And we're going to go back some more. Get back to some other attestations of it. So why did they start saying this at about this time period? There is some other work. Now look at this. This is one of the attestations that you see the leader of the black lands, leader of the red lands, but watch how this works for y'all. It's going to make people look kind of crazy. Because this is what we was arguing with Wujahu and them over, right? This is the same Saint Rosette attestation. Now, when we come down here, read this and tell me if he's talking about people or dirt and soil. They know he's talking about people because they put it in parentheses. But look what he says. He has come after he has taken over the rule of the inhabitants of Egypt and has taken possession of the desert. But I gotta zoom in so y'all can peek game. First, look at this symbol. You see the dang man, I forgot what that was. I6, and yeah, you see I6 and the T, and then the 049, right? But look, you see I6 right here, the T, but now you see three people. You see two people behind it. So remember, this word is black. Now, even if you want to exploit their logic, and it's just so simple, if this means land, because it has these three symbols behind it, and the word is black, so this is black land, then what would this mean if you got the word black and the category right here? They say, no, it can't mean black people. It means people who come from that area. That's funny, right? Because we still got the juxtaposition between black and red. Remember? So people who come from the black area now and people who come from the red area. That's not what they said in the translation. They said he has come as he's taken over the inhabitants of Egypt. So that would be these people right here. And you click it, it go right back to this Kemet glyph. So this was I know a lot of y'all know, but some people don't. This was the actual rendition that Sheikh Antijop used to say that Kemet mean black people. There's a lot of teachers that say, no, you're reading that the wrong way. But I looked through all the evidence. I even dialogued with some scholars who disagree, and they finally presented their evidence to the contrary, and it didn't really all the way stack up. And I can show you some of those emails to where they showed me how for the word for northerners, southerners, and other terms, instead of putting TU at the end, they just put two people and the three strokes. And that means one who comes from the south, one who comes from the north, and it forces the interpretation on this, one who comes from the black. Right? But it's clear here that if he's taken over rule of the inhabitants of the black, which is Egypt, that he's still talking about people. Because I didn't say they black people yet. By this definition, they're not. They would just be inhabitants of the black if people would go with what scholars say. And he has taken possession of the desert. Now they just calling this the desert. So, again, we got to trip off that. And here we see upon Jeshurun. Now, if you look, okay, here we go the second time where we see black land and red land. But we already to the 18th dynasty. So you telling me in this text corpus, there's one use of black land, red land, right? And then it goes to Egypt and the desert. Then it skips this one, and then it goes back to black land, red land. There's two attestations. I'm his excellent heir, the favorite of his majesty, Amen, to whom he has handed over the kingship of the black land, Egypt, and the red land. So, okay, this is not about black silt, else you would be messing that up. But if you take this as the black community and the desert, it makes sense. But let's see, that's two of them with the black land and the red land. Now look, this is three. The shores are united under my supervision. The black land, Egypt, and the red land are full of terror. Before me, my Ba makes the foreign lands bow down. 3, 4. He caused me to rule the black land, Egypt, and the red land, desert, foreign countries. So all of these can be interpreted as black community and the desert foreign countries. But whatever, none of them can be interpreted as he caused me to rule the dirt. But that's what they're trying to do. He caused me to rule the black land. Okay, so everything all of the areas that have fertile, now silt, he ruled that. And he ruled the red lands. I'm totally fine with that interpretation. I'm not mad, but that ain't really what it is, right? But that's 4 of them. That's 5 of them. To whom the black land and the red land, deserts, upper Egypt, lower Egypt were given into his fist. Now, this one right here will let us know that it seems like upper Egypt and lower Egypt is different divisions than the black land and the red land. Egypt and the deserts. This ain't Egypt because upper and lower is Egypt. Like, this not making sense. You have to. So who gave him the black, the red, the places where people dwell, the desertous areas, upper Egypt and lower Egypt were given to his fist. Still, this is like 6 black lands and red lands being compared out of the 35 so far. So yeah, you see the German, then I got to translate it to the English. He was united for me, the black land and the red land. 7. Now they say he's the Lord of the fertile land and the desert. It switched from being the black land for some reason to the fertile land. Black land, red land. So that's 8, and now we get into the red land by itself. The red land, the deserts present him with tribute. All foreign lands are under his protection. Black land, red land. That's either 9 or 10. All right, that's making progress. Egypt and its deserts. I haven't passed up 10 times. Oh, ye the desert is throughout the land. Fertile land and desert land. That's 11. Kemet, Jeshurun are in peace. This is the 19th dynasty. I like saying I like knowing these facts because when I talk about it with people, I can know confidently that I just looked through the whole damn text corpus, but my count could have fell off. They're gonna overthrow the desert and Nubia. So now we see Jeshurun in juke position to Taseti. Oh, that's I'm gonna have to focus on this a few times. Because it's not even in juke. I mean, it's not, you feel me? It's not against the black land. They will overthrow the desert and Taseti. I think I've seen it 11 times so far. The black land and the red land, 12 times. I'm just seeing how many times. 13. How many attestations I would have to study? That was 13. And now we all the way up in the 26th dynasty. All right. Wait till what you're going to see after this. It don't do it in this text. Oh, Kemet for Jeshurun. 14. Unless I was on 13. Y'all can know my count. It ain't there. All right, that's about 14 times in the history of Egypt. Hold on. Let me see some more. 2 lands divided in a circle. Let me just come up here and see Kemet Jeshurun. So that's 15. Kemet Jeshurun. All right. Oh, yeah. But that's Horus of Athribis. I thought so, right? Why is he the heir of the Red Desert? Nevertheless, this isn't against the black land. So it looked like 15 times. Let's see what this last page got. 16 times, I shouldn't have said it. So it's like 15 or 16. This is Ptolemaic, right? I probably wouldn't even accept this. Ptolemaic, 17. That's a lot. Darkness is 18. So it looks like out of the 35 times that we find it in the text corpus, 18 of them had, now this is what I need y'all to check game on, because you got to know how you dealing with this. Look, it's in the text corpus 35 times, the word Jeshurun. It looked like 18 of those times it was used in juxtaposition to Kemet, right? But now look at this. And this is why I've got to say that's a whack way to define Kemet, what Kemet means. Because if you go to the word Kemet now, oh man, they messed up. Even statistics will show you that's not how you do that. Let me show you. Now let's come to the Kemet for what they're talking about, y'all. Now check this out. Kemet, the black land. 375 attestations. So now you're telling me you defining these 375 attestations off of finding it in juxtaposition to a term that appeared 35 times, and it was only in juxtaposition to Kemet 18 times. That's still a lot. I'm just showing you what we're dealing with. Think about that though. How come if if the defining factor of the term Kemet is the fact that it was used in reference to the Red Land so many times. We just looked it up. It was only 18 times in the history of Egypt. In the text corpus. So now that just makes it look kind of crazy. That out of the 375 times y'all seen this word saying black, 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 black all over the place, you say it's defined by the 18 times that we find it in juxtaposition to the Red Land. I bet you I can find Kemet, and I got the tools to do so. If it's only 18 times, I bet you I can find Kemet around other words more than 18 times. Right? But not other colors. So now when we come into the use of Kemet, they're starting us from the 12th dynasty too, and we got research that could take us back further. But notice this. The first use of it was in the story where we often look at this story, right? Now they changed the name to the prepared farmer. Sometimes they call it the eloquent peasant, right? Behold, I'm about to go down to KMT. To buy. Buy is transaction. Transactions indicate meeting with humans. Behold, I'm about to go down to Egypt to buy food, not to grow in the black soil, but to buy food for my children. Right? I'm about to go down to Egypt to buy. So this is the first use they got in the TLA. We already know how many times we're going to see it in juxtaposition to the Red Land, only 18 times. Now, people going to be taking my little show, and act like they did the research for themselves. And you're going to hear it all on the show. So what if they only got it 18 times? I was counting all sloppy. Go do the work for yourself. See, when I do it in the book, I'm going to go recount 4 or 5 times and make sure that's right. But don't get to repeating what I'm saying and not do this work for yourself. It's just as easy as open. I just showed you how to do it. Yet they're going to be just like, Exactly. He said, smash another question they can't answer from the primary. Look up happy for the now and watch how the now makes things grow and not the soup. That's what Plutarch was trying to tell us. Yeah, he was trying to tell the Greeks. He was trying to tell the white people. He was like, they don't like being with no red people, bruh. And he was like, man, they think water they think water is the whole thing. But I am going to look up that. I'm going to look up happy. Then he said to me, then Egypt will surely prosper because it knows its own virtue. See, this is the black area, the black community is going to prosper because it knows its own virtue. Even in this story, some try to say, does this have racist tropes in it or things like that? Because this is the next story, the story of Sinue, what we talk about all the time. He went to live amongst the Asiatics, and when he came back, the people of Kemet told him he looked like a straight Asian. But in their words, he looked like a foreigner. So that would have to be by his dress and not by his garb. Now notice this. All of these use cases of Kemet, which are so much more plentiful than the Red Land. So you trying to tell me they only had to talk about the desert 35 times? I'm trying to figure everything out. I don't think it was how they said it was. All of these attestations have nothing to do with the Red Land, right? And I guess these attestations are defined by the few other ones that are about the Red Land. 12th Dynasty, same story. So what I said about the racist stuff, all those people started like screaming when they seen him coming back looking like an Asiatic. The wife and kids start crying and stuff. And they let out a loud shriek. So I wonder what that actually meant in the ancient tale. I keep passing these up, but I would like y'all to read these. And you tell me how the hell you make a gate. Read this for your own self. I showed you this plenty of times. One trusted of the king in making strong his monuments and in making a gate for Egypt. Man, we be thinking, see, we listen to too much Egyptology and don't really read it from them. So you think he was lying? Egypt didn't have a gate? I want to ask y'all something. Is he lying? We got to answer these questions. Is this a true attestation? Did he really build the gate for Kemet? Because if it was a gate and y'all think that somebody could build a gate that you can't get around, that mug would have had to have been longer than the wall Trump tried to build for Mexico. But look, let me show you again. But indeed, if they were effective in building this gate that he professed, so this is the 12th dynasty. Notice this is a biography from a Semna Stela, the Semna Stela of Montuemhat, right? He was the one trusted of the king in making strong his monuments and in making a gate for Egypt. Now, if you click this word they're using for gate, it'll probably say doorway. You want to see? What it say? Doorway. Come on, man. Y'all be acting like this is the first time. Right? So, let's just think about that. If I take you back a few attestations earlier in a different text, the same story we was talking about Sinuway, what does it say here? Make your way, make the coming for yourselves to Egypt. That's the black land, the black community, the black part. Make your way to the black so that you can see again the residence in which you grew up, so that you can kiss the earth at the great double gate. So now we got two attestations that say Kemet or the black had a gate around it. Now let me show you the map and see how stupid this is. I mean, what they got us believing, right? You think they had a gate around the whole of Egypt, bro? So Egypt and Kemet, this is just proof that Egypt and Kemet don't translate good together. So now, he told them to come back. Look at this whole map. Where did they put the gate? Huh? Do y'all think that you're going to take because the black silt is all of this. That's all the black silk. So where's the gate to where you could contain all of the black silk? It's illogical. It's more logical that if we look at the sack of Thebes, any of the sacks of Thebes, bruh. You can see the gates around Thebes. Golly, like, is we crazy? Let me just show you this, bruh. What do you think they got ladders? This is Thebes. Do y'all see that? So somebody will make you think that Kemetic cities wasn't fortified and surrounded with walls and shit. I just showed you two textual linguistic attestations that say the gates of Kemet. That it destroys the logic that Kemet was all of Egypt. Now we're looking at the sack of Thebes from the Assyrian time period, and you can clearly see they're using ladders to breach the Egyptian, to breach Thebes, the Egyptian fort. Y'all see that? So we don't even have to talk about it. Now, why would Thebes have walls? Why would Memphis be called the Great White Wall? And they didn't really have these walls. So I propose that whatever the area where the black community gathered, I mean, and I'm talking about particularly, I don't think, it's a lot to be said about that, because the way that we say black community, they literally wrote black and then they would put a city center after that. And so that's what I'm trying to address. But I think the place where they gathered might have indeed been, it might have had gates or something that could be controlled in that manner. Right? Even if you go to, all right, who was that? Kamos, who was fighting for Egypt. We about to get to that story. Watch this. He gonna give you some indication that they got some gates too. In Kemet, you just gotta read astutely. Watch this. Because he's gonna say something, and I'm gonna ask y'all a question when we get to Kamos that y'all can let me know. When he talk about the Magi archers, then we about to look at that happy. When he talk about the Magi archers, what do he say? Let's see. Kamos, stealing the Kamos, the Stella of Kamos. Let me see. Each man owns his portion and part of Egypt, sharing the land with me. All right, the part of Kemet, Kemet, sharing the land with me. Now let's see what he says. Dang, why this be getting so big? He gonna say his Magi archers was on top of something. And I need y'all to tell me what they was on top of. I know what they was on top of. He holds the land of the Asians, we hold Egypt. No, he holds the land of the Asians, we hold the black community, or the black area. If someone comes who attacks against us, we will act against him towards me. Whoever shares the land with me will not respect me. Does he respect me? At will from him. I will go north to have a fight. So now we know, okay, listen, I will go north. He say, I got the land of the black community, they got the land of the Asians, he gonna go north. The powerful Victoria ruler from within the Theban nome, let's stop and go back to the sack of Thebes. This is when Thebes got sacked. They climbing over walls. Now we in the 16th, this is like the 26th dynasty, right? That we looking at right here. Now when we come back to this, he was saying this in the, let me see. Who is this talking? This Kamos in the 17th dynasty, right? The powerful, victorious ruler of the Theban nome, Kamos the Mighty. So the question is, were those walls of Thebes built already? Well, I kind of know they were. Because when they got built, Thebes been there forever. They got to keep the animals and stuff out too. They got to keep out all the wild stuff. Like, I don't know. So putting up a barricade wasn't a big thing. But let's see what he says about these Magi archers. Now, I just need to put this there and you just tell me what this means. This is the next sentence, dog. I love how this works for me when I'm doing my knowledge. Check this out, look. This sentence say, he gonna go north and have a fight with the Asians. Then it say the powerful ruler of the Theban nome. I just showed y'all that later in time, Thebes had walls, right? I mean, we got evidence that there was walls. Question is, were the walls there before? Well, we know the walls is there because look at the next line. Golly, you got to be able to do your homework. What do he say right here? Magi archers, shout out to my Agi in the building, in the chat right now. He say Magi archers, archer units, were on top of our deck superstructures. That's just the way that they translated this. We can go into each one of these words here and see. So this is paget to you. This is like Bowman. Paget to you. Net, neut. I mean, I'm saying neut. I should say neat. And this is just belonging to. So Bowman belong. I'm gonna make this bigger. Everybody know we read. Look, if I click any of these words, it's gonna say what I say. Now, paget to you is Bowman. You want me to click it? All right, what's your problem? They say, someone shut up. This is Bowman, right? Let me prove it. You see the damn bow. But the fact is, they're saying a troop of soldiers because the only weapons in these times were maces. It was either close combat, right, or spears and bows. So essentially, this does make sense just to say a troop. But if you want to be literal, they're talking about bowmen. And I can prove it because it says bowman belonging to. This is belonging to. You want me to click it? It's going to say belonging to. Man, it's say belonging to. There you go. Look, belonging to. All right. So bowman belonging to. This is Magi. So this is not the location. This is a group of army men called the Magi. So that's why they say a troop belonging to the Magi. So this is in or on. This is in. Now it says Heret. In. And they say this is the top of our deck. So Heret is going to be on top. Or in the high, they're high up. See, look, this means high up, on the upper side. So now that just beat the brakes off you. How the hell are these archers on the upper side of anything if it ain't no walls? You tell me what they on the upper side of. Magi archer units were on top of our deck. Let's see what they say the deck is. This is the archers in the high side, the RT. Now the RT is probably going to be our doorway or our gate. RT is the gate, but they got the gate of ours. The gate belonging to us, but when I click it, it's going to say something different. It says, a cabin, an enclosed structure or a cabin. That don't work. Let's just think about it. You're going to fight and you got archers on top of a cabin. They wouldn't have that much range like to protect. So we would basically say an enclosed structure. Check M-A-T-E. The enclosed structure are the walls, I could say around Kemet, but I'm stretching it because at this point, he had just said he was in Thebes. He was the leader of Thebes. No, he didn't say he was in Thebes. He said the mighty ruler of Thebes, and he was saying, I have the black community. I have Kemet. And he put his archers up on the damn superstructures. So tell me they didn't have walls. I want to answer. What did he put them on? What was the archers on in ancient Egypt? The motherfuckers was up on some high-ass walls. Stop playing with me. They was on this. As you see them, man, I'm about to whoop your wig. Don't even play with Smash. Look at this. I'll show you what they was on. Look at them. You see them? Aren't those archers? These are magi archers. How can I prove it? Look at this feather in his head right here. Stop playing with us. Dude, look at this feather in his head right here. And he ain't got his bow. Now, this is the actual, and it even go up higher, look. So either we believe this stuff that somebody sat down and carved in stone for us to peep game, or we just believe everything the Egyptologists tell you. Kemet was not all of Egypt. It was an area that could have some damn walls around it. And you can't put walls around the damn black silk. You see all of this. Take every detail and learn what they was trying to get you to learn. Like, what is these blocks? They was chipping away at the damn wall. You see this? So some of them was chipping away at the wall. Obviously, you see that. Some of them was scaling the wall. This fool fell, an archer, because here go his bow, as he was falling, another Magi archer falling off the damn same superstructures that Kamos is talking about in this text. So I'm gonna tell you shit about Black Egypt. They don't know nothing. Now, I'm talking because I'm on YouTube. This is my lingo. But I clean it up and take this into academia. And it's always well received. They be calling me an expert. I don't care what the suckers call me. Like, you feel me? I had sent out a strong Magi rifle force while I spent time for repelling the Asiatics who refused to obey the Black City. You think that say Egypt? Do you have any logical, like, I got these things in my brain that won't allow me to pursue a certain path. If the logic door shuts on it, I can't go down that road no more because the door just goes zoom. It goes zoom, zoom, and you just be steered along the path that logic allows you to traverse. Y'all be trying to hop them fences? This is what I mean. Any man or woman with a thinking brain can follow this logic. It's not, they can fool you out of this. You can easily be fooled out of this. But if you take away my commentary and take away the commentary to the opposite side and simply read this sentence, he holds the land of the Asiatics. We hold Egypt. First thing you have to do is disqualify this statement. Not disqualifying the original statement, but disqualifying the interpretation that scholars have given us. He did not mean he holds the land of the Asiatics and we hold Egypt, because when we go to a map, right? When we go to a map, he was in Egypt. He was down here talking. We hold Kemet, the black land, the black area. They hold Asiatic area. Now let me ask you something. That's one instance, but I'm gonna go do the research. I guarantee you it's gonna pop up more than 18 times. I can't guarantee that. But from my previous research, there's a good chance that we're about to be able to combat the connection between the black land and the red land with attestations where they're talking about people. Like he said, we hold Kemet and they hold the land of the Asiatics. The land of the Asiatics is the land of some people. So why, when he talking about Kemet, it ain't the land of some people? We hold the land of the blacks and they hold the land of the damn Asians. But the problematic part for Egyptologists is when they say Kemet is all of Egypt, he would have been inside of the Kemet. The Asiatic ruler would have been inside of the Kemet that we think is Kemet. If all of Egypt was Kemet to them, then dude would have been in that. So that don't make no sense. If this was the land of the Asiatics, it's telling you the people that wanted to ran up there and came and invaded this area, and he wanted them up out of there. Period. And he down here somewhere in the black land with archers on the walls. You feel me? So I don't understand it. But anyway, let's continue. If someone comes who attacks against us, we will attack him towards me. Whoever shares the land with me would not respect me. Does he respect me? I will go north from him. I will go north to have a fight with the Asians. It says with the Aamu here. All right. So he gonna go north. Now they say the protector of Egypt. The powerful, victorious ruler within the Theban nome, Kamos, the mighty protector of the black community. Protector of the place where the black dwells, that which is black dwells. However you want to do it. Magi archers was on top of the superstructures. I had sent out a strong Magi rifle force. I spent time, for I repelled the Asiatics who refused to obey the black community. While he had made Nefer-Uzi a nest of Asiatics. Then I had broken down its walls. So you think they had walls? So you think the Asiatics had walls? Come on, man. When I had broken down its walls, you see that? And killed its people. That's the end. That's not the end, it's the end of this text that's interrupted. So what is the strong point I'm making? That is beyond a shadow of a doubt, Kemet wasn't no all of Egypt. Kemet was an area in the south called the Black Land. If y'all want to call it the Black Land, call it that. But the 049 represents more of a city center, or for lack of better terms, places where people gather. Now, if that's where that which is black gathers, we got to go to Dr. Mario Beatty's work when he start talking about the socio-geopolitical term that had to come out of the 12th dynasty, Kemet. Where they say people, you know what I'm saying? What they say, I was reading the chat, excuse me. What they say, people in these same Asiatics encroached upon Egypt, and it was a cause for this socio-political term to say, draw the distinctions that were drawn. All right, now I can probably open it up if there's some people out there. Let me see. They don't even let me see who in the building right now. Oh, there's a few people in the building. Shout out to y'all. I haven't seen, you ordered a high performance laptop mid-March and the month Trump dropped the tariffs, and I'm still waiting on some shit that's supposed to be delivered 2 4 business days in Shanghai. Good luck with that, bro. I also have an order in, and my manufacturer told me it would be the best to hold off and wait, or I'm going to lose some bread. So it is what it is, man. Money get lost, but it is what it is, man. I don't like this tariff stuff. It's hurting, but matter of fact, y'all can hit the Cash App Smash Rock if y'all want to help, because the tariffs is just killing me. Keep the show popping. Send me some of that good energy. Stop playing, man. You also can hit that super chat. Hit that super chat. And we're going to keep on cooking. So one thing we just tripped off today, you probably didn't have in your little stats. You can whip that out. If you want to double check, go on the TLA yourself, but I'm going to hit anybody with this. Even doctor, this is why they be saying that I get down like that. Because I can hit you with a sentence like, so out of the 35 times we find the red land in the use in ancient Egyptian history, 18 of those times it's in juxtaposition with Kemet, and we defined a term that got 375 attestations, at least in the text corpus, Kemet, by those 18 occurrences. Oh, we got to do the rest of the homework. We're about to go find Kemet. I'm going to show you the easy way to do it. Well, I don't want to give up all my secrets, but you got to go in the old TLA, right? If you go in the old TLA, they got some tools that I haven't been able to find or use in the new TLA. So what you could do is go find that word Kemet, right? First one I think is going to be is Asiatics. So I'm going to try that. But here go Egypt, Kemet. Now you're going to get what's called the lemma ID. I should have this remembered. 164430 is Kemet's lemma ID, right? Now I'm going to take that. I'm going to just remember that. Then I'm going to go get the other one. A'amul. It was 164430, so this one is 35400. So 164430. I'm going to go to the old TLA, log in, and see if these words pop up more times in connection with each other than the hierarchical tree of objects. No, word class and type and token type statistics. Word class frequency is what we want. Now, analysis of word frequency distribution. I think that's what we want. Wait a minute. See, I know the better way to get there. The better way is to go lemma search and put the lemma, come down to the bottom. Wait a minute. Let me see if they let me do it by the numbers. Lemma ID, I know they not. All right, well, so then I'm gonna go. Oh, hold up, this is gonna be fun because it's gonna let me finish the homework. So I want to get to the one that is still 35400, it's gonna be desert, right? So when we click it, it's like, oh no, it got a different limit right here. So I'm gonna use this. And in this text corpus, they only had 29 attestations of Gesserit, meaning, so they upgraded it. This is what you wanna come do. Search for combined attestations of this word with another word. Oh, but this is Gesserit. I wanna find Kemet and Aamu. And we gonna beat them real quick. We gonna beat that 18 number, hopefully. Let me see. Oh, so you see it say Asiatics. Now, just from my limited research, I have a feeling, look, see the word Asiatics is in the text corpus more than the red land. But that's not what we're looking for. What I think is we're gonna find Asiatics in being compared to the term Kemet, which is 16, it was 164430. More than, this is a 10-word distance I'm checking. I'm checking the 10 word. How many we got? Let me see. How many we got? Uh-oh, we got a lot of them. Let's look. This is that research. Hold on. 1, 2. Hold on, man. We're going to have hell of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm about to beat them. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Got them. Got them. You can't even mess with us. That's why you can't fuck with us. Got you. So y'all want to know how y'all beat the brakes off them now? What? Kemet is only found, and you could go tighten this up because I'm doing my quick counting. Kemet is only found in juxtaposition to the red land 18 times out of the 35 times we find the red land in the text corpus. But if you go look at Asiatics, a group of people, you will find these black people in juxtaposition to these Asiatics 20 times, which outweighs your data that you using to define the term Kemet as the black land. You want to take my data and say that that means something about the people. Aamu is a group of people. That's checkmate. That's so limited. Why? That's why I be like, they didn't have the tools we had back then when they was doing that Egyptological research, because that just got the brakes beat off it. And the only way you could get around it is if I messed up with some numbers I was counting, which I know I always do. So you go back and you tighten up the work. So I just counted 20 attestations where Asiatics, a group of people, is in juxtaposition to Kemet within a 10-word distance. More than the damn desert red land. So after we told they punk ass they didn't have no source on this black land with the silk, they went and asking them, well, how you do it how you come to the conclusion if you don't have no source? And they told them little munchkins, they was like, hey, we just going off because we see it in juxtaposition to the red land so many times. And we just went and counted. And it's in juxtaposition to Asians more than it is to the red land. Tell me they wasn't talking about the black land, talking about black people. So store that in your Dominator Egyptological dinner table. That's why they let me speak at them events. They be shutting up. Sometimes cats be trying to look away like I ain't busting. But then why y'all all quiet? Like y'all are experts. Drop a love, beat the brakes off me, humiliate me. Don't just dig into your soup. I ain't got none of that. I didn't kill them. It was my two Egyptological PhD aspiring freshly met homegirls that qualify as that. Man, they ain't know nothing I was talking about, bro. I had to shut up. I'm like, sis, bruh, you know how many Egyptologists, professional Egyptologists, I taught about the 1974 UNESCO symposium? I don't even want to say no names. But I got emails where they like, oh, what the hell is that? I need to catch up on that. Huh? So you talking about Kemet? You don't know nothing about that? Wow. But this is just because we focus on one thing. It's not because we fresh or we better. We all got brains, right? If you keep your brain focused on something for the last 20 damn years, you better know more than somebody. Else you wasting your damn time. It's not nothing special. You go to a mechanic for the last 20 years, he gonna wiggle that part on so fast while you banging on shit. He gonna be like, bro, just lean it, boot. Oh, that's how you do it? Yeah, I've been doing this for 20 years. Same thing the way we just ran through the TLA and just counted that up. And it's really not too much around. You tell me your way around that. It's all in my flaws. And I do this to have some flaws in front of you so you can say, I see where you're leaking, and then you're going to be a better version of what I'm doing. Like he should have counted it like this and wrote it down and yeah, okay, fine. But I'm trying to push it along the lines, you know what I'm saying? All I know is they better not say shit about the red land being in juxtaposition to the black land. The red land only in the text corpus 35 times. Would you shut up with that? Nobody wasn't even tripping off that. So basically, now I need to go back and count. Oh, we're going to do all the work. They're going to just have to watch one show and get all the information. Because now I need to know how many times was the red land in political documents. See? It's going to be all political. Watch how this works. It ain't going to be in no real-time documents. Matter of fact, I bet you Kamos, the one time we go through that whole document where he's referencing Kemet as this area here, I bet you don't mention Jeshurun in that whole document. That's significant. But I'm in this old TLA, what I'm doing right now. Oh, let's read I just clicked out of it. Right when I said I'm in this old TLA, what we doing right now, you said let's read the examples. Let's see if I can bring that back by just go to my history and bring that page back. Yeah, here it go. Now, what did I do to make it not be there no more? Here it go. So you could count them again. Here go to, now we're looking at Kemet. Now look at this search I'm doing. I'm gonna show y'all how savvy the TLA is. I put the minimum distance to the left of the word A'amu is 10 words. And I put the minimum distance to the right 10 words. That's what it starts off with. Sentence boundaries are ignored. You can say they gotta be in the same sentence. But this right here for Kamos. My wish is to save Egypt and defeat the Asians. We already established where the Asians were in Kamos' story. They were in the Delta, which he called the land of the Asiatics. So he couldn't have been meaning my wish is to save Egypt and defeat the Asians. This means the black land, which was being encroached upon. So he had to run them out of the areas that he wasn't even tripping off of, that Delta E area, but whatever. This can be interpreted as my wish is to save Egypt and defeat the Asians, but what are you trying to do? Are you trying to say one is a country and one is some people? No. Kemet is some people that he's trying to save, and defeating the Asians is how he gonna do it. The second one, after he had captured Egypt, told you, by marching Asians. No, this is not captured Egypt. This is captured Egyptians or captured black people. After he had captured black people by marching against the Asians to drive them out. Well, you could say captured Egypt. All right, I'm not trying to be hella harsh, but I'm trying to look at it both ways. So after he had saved, so this is to rescue, he had rescued Kemet, right? Anyway, they keep putting Egypt, this is Kemet in juxtaposition to Aamu. I repelled the Asiatics who refused to obey Egypt. We seen that one. I repelled the Asians who refused to obey Egypt. Here we go. Because the destruction they had caused in part of Egypt, those who gave themselves over to listening to the cause of the Asiatics had abandoned Egypt. I could read them all, but I probably won't, but it's pretty much showing. I had Lower Egypt beat them. I took their families. I robbed them of all their food. I killed people among them until the Asiatics had been instilled with abhorrence of Egypt. So my simple point was just trying to be made that you can't be saying, oh, it's because they fine. What about the red? Why you don't say nothing about them finding it next to? Shut up. You don't study. You're just a crony, a sit next to, right? Shut up. You're not like me. You don't do no homework. Feel me? Why they ain't saying, you know, one of the things about that red land. Dummies, we've been doing this for hella long. Those who give themselves over to listen to the cause of the Asians, that is, to serve the Asians, had abandoned the black community. But they want to say had abandoned Egypt. Whatever, bro. Take it how you want to take it. How come I can read it this way? So let me show you something. This is the one they be tripping off too right here. One great man is in Avaris. Another is in Cush. I sit idle together, united with the Asiatic and a Nubian. See? Each man holds his portion of this Egypt, sharing the land with me. Nah, he's telling you, Avaris was to his north, and that was in the Delta. So you telling me Cush is part of Egypt then? No. So he was saying Avaris to the north, Cush to the south, I'm in the middle, in Kemet. Each man holds his portion of this Egypt. That's the bad translation. Regardless, I don't have to stay on that. The red land should have get beat the brakes off it. I dare you to bring it around me. It ain't even enough red lands for y'all to rock. And then at the end of the red land, they snitch on y'all. Let me tell you, bro, we've been doing this for so long. Remember when they was trying to get me out the text corpus? Because that was our strong attribute. So let's go to this. I want to say, I'll show that last red land is going to make you laugh. One of the last red lands snitch on the red land, and they show you why they doing it. It's because of Horus and Seth. It's saying at the end of the text corpus. Sometimes we don't be looking at all of the attestations enough. So in the final, one of the final ones, when you get up towards the Roman time period, you find an attestation that's giving an explanation. Look at these limited as 35 attestations. Acting now, I'm gonna go to page 4. This is within the Jeshurun, where they was like, oh, because we find it within so much, but with the black land. Now let's see what it says. Maybe page 3. Oh boy. Let's see if I can find it. Well, in this attestation, it is them solving the problems, the fight between Horus and Set. All right, here it is. Now, you're going to see how, look how long this text is. All right? It's over 30 pages. If you go to the beginning, what you're going to find out is this is, well, you can also come down here and read it. They say collected manuscripts. It says a ritual for failing Seth and his confederates. That's just, I don't know how to say that. But if you read it, it seemed like one of the contingencies of Horus and Seth stories, right? And I'm going to just go back to the beginning. The ritual for failing Seth and his confederates, which is accomplished in the temple of Osiris, the foremost of the West, the great god, making for yourself a figure of Seth out of wax and his name inscribed on the breast, and drawing on the blank sheet of papyrus in red ink, spitting on it and placing it under the left foot, striking it with a harpoon and binding, cutting it with a knife and spitting on it again. Words to be spoken. So they about to get rid of self by doing this ritual. You spitting on this dog back. That rebel, that wretch character whose stride is checked, who's already fought in the womb, who made evil, who trespassed the ways, who falls to slaughter, who loves the fight, who is pleased with the uproar, who hides his face against the one who is greater or the elder than him, who creates evil, who causes suffering, foe of the father of his fathers, who ignores the laws, who acts with strength and power, who stands up with an arrow, robber, the lord of falsehood, ruler of the lie. He is the commander of the criminals, who is pleased with being absent. He hates the brotherhood, whom his heart impoverished, wretched of his heart is among the gods. Wait, wretchedness of his heart is among the gods. Disturber, who brings destruction into being. Tebet, who creates turmoil. The Lord of robbery. Now they just gonna keep on going on forever and giving him bars. Your crimes have been placed. Now we're gonna get all the way to the page where I was at. I can't even keep reading that. They basically talking about the god Seth, the bad one, right? And they're gonna put him on trial and then watch what happened. It wind up with this sentence. I need some water or something. It wind up with this sentence. One does not turn back what comes forth from his mouth. Are these sentences? Pray. Remember these things. You have commanded to make instructions. You have given commandments there about the strides, positions of men, the plans of the gods, the counsel of the kings in his palace, the written, it says the writing which thought created on the order of the Lord, Atum. In giving Egypt to Horus, and the desert to Seth. Golly. Boom. Down to Marco. In giving That's not Egypt, you eggheads. The desert is in Egypt. So if it says in giving Egypt to Horus and the desert to Seth, you created a false dichotomy. There's no Egypt against the desert. Half of the desert is in Egypt. So this is not what they was thinking. It says to give in giving the black to Horus and the red to Self. When their lands were divided. So hold up. Because if we looked at what Plutarch said, we know that Seth is associated with red because what is fiery, arid, and dry. Now, if you look over here at the Medu Neter, this says Erdi. I say Erdi. Some might say Ra, but this is not Ra. This is a Erdi, right? You don't see the D. It means to give. So there goes your Kemet, right? So there go your, look. See, this is being said in a different way, but you can see that this is Heru right here. This is the lore. So now I'm gonna have to walk back all the way to the beginning. But this is, look, when I click this, they say Atum. All right, so let's get, where is he getting his Heru from? All right, good. So this is not, by the way, this is late Egyptian, so I want people to know that's why I'm trying to figure it out. And they use this bone and then this R to say Heru right here, right? So the black belonging to Heru. The black belonging to Heru. Giving the black belonging, Atum. So Atum in giving, yeah, they say it right here, in giving Egypt to Horus. Atum in giving the black to Horus, the red, and it just got set after that. It don't say to set or belonging to. Set of, what's this word? This is a part, to divide. Yep, to divide, okay. So now we got them saying the black and the red is basically over Horus and Set. I don't know. But I do know that we've seen enough evidence. I'll open up a link, King J. If somebody want to come on and talk, I'll just kick it and let y'all build. Shout out to you, King J. How you been? Hope all is well. Let me see. Let me open up a link. So what did we learn today? We learned a lot, hopefully, unless y'all knew all that. I didn't know all that. We learned that the red land is only in the text. Make sure you say only in the text corpus. Don't say only in the angles of Kemet because you'll mess up. It's only in the text corpus 35 times. And it's only in juxtaposition. You should recount this again. It's only in juxtaposition to Kemet 18 times. But if you look up the word Asiatics, it's actually in juxtaposition to Kemet more times than the red land. And that's 20 times. So if you want to define it as meaning the dirt because you found it 18 times in juxtaposition to the red land, which has an explanation when we look at this Roman period text that explains that the red go to Sutet and the black is Horus. They don't want to do that. Let me share this. Feel free to hit the link and build if that's what y'all want to do. I'm about to share that right now. Feel free to hit the Cash App and support this research. You know what I'm saying? There go the link. PM message. And there you have it. Let's see what pop with that. So, you know, I don't even be tripping. I don't watch no shows that say the ancient Egyptians wasn't black. They don't even get my viewership. Too old for that. I don't want to be watching stupid motherfuckers all day. For real, that just don't contribute nothing to nothing. You know what I'm saying? Don't give you nothing. Just try to take shit from you. King J, you tatting up?
Peace. You already know.
Let me put you on the big screen. Hold on.
All right, hold on.
Word up. How you doing?
Good, man. I've been trying to catch up with you. You've been, you know what I'm saying, international lately.
I'll be
so
all over the place. I mean, but you know, it's
you
all
already
good.
know. I appreciate a good conversation about Kemet, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
You appreciate what?
a good convo about Kemet.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's what's up. What's up with Joey?
I ain't seen Joey.
No, Joey right there.
Oh, okay.
He on mute though. I guess he ain't ready.
Hello?
What's up?
Yeah, but it seems like when you look at that black land and red land might have come from the Greeks, though.
Oh,
Am I
well,
wrong?
it started way long before that. Remember when we seen it, it started in the time period of Simro Set. At least in the text corpus.
Let me rephrase myself. The idea of the meaning that we have now seemed like it came from the Greeks.
I mean, you know, we have to ask ourselves, what was Simro Set talking about when he said Kemet and Jeshurun?
That's a good question.
I think he meant the black community and the desert dwellers.
Right.
Was it?
But,
Go ahead.
but who were the desert dwellers? Were the
People
black
who didn't live in the community like that.
Because we know just because they use a term for someone as a foreigner, it doesn't mean that they geographically come from somewhere else.
Or it doesn't mean that they ain't black. None of that is implied that. The blackness of Kemet can be used, to me, if you ask me, when I look at it, it can even use to divide themselves from other black people. For real, though. I mean, it just seemed to be that way, kind of like the Jews would use their divinity or whatever to separate themselves from other people in the Levant, right?
Yeah, but then we have to make people to understand when you see people in our culture on a whole determined as foreigners, it doesn't mean they're
Just looking about the
Well, so desert dwellers aren't necessarily considered foreigners.
right.
They're just considered people who ain't close. You know, they don't got no land in the city.
Right, but then we have to also understand foreigners in African culture just means someone who is not politically under the control of the group in question, correct?
Well, I wouldn't say that. A foreigner probably mean a foreigner, whether they're under political control or not. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
for instance, imagine if a person was really close to them and they knew these people for a long time, but they still wasn't under their political control.
Right.
They wouldn't be considered Amu just because they'd be considered whoever they are considered.
That's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying when you look at Nehesi, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of them have a foreign determinative, but they all go back to the original word with no foreign determinative according to the TLA. So sometimes people they have a beef with, not necessarily someone who's geographically not from there, if you understand what I'm trying to tell you.
But even the foreign determinative, it needs more analysis. If we just accepting what the Europeans tell us it mean, we could do that. But we need to analyze them more, because I can show you hella attestations where local places at one point in time get that determinative.
Right. Smash, quick question. So are you familiar with Herman Junkner, his argument against Budge, against what the word Nehesi really means?
You said
So
Junkner?
I think it's Junkner. So um Budge comes with the argument that Nehesi means Negro, right?
Yeah.
Junkner counters that with no, it doesn't mean Negro. It means Southern, right? Negro. I
No,
mean,
it means
but
wait. You
Southerner,
just said he said just
Southerner,
real quick.
Southerner.
He said it don't mean Negro, then he said it do mean Negro?
No, so this is so he says that Junkner says that it does not mean Negro, it means Southerner, but only based on the fact that Junkner says that there was no Negroid element in the now Delta before 1450 BC.
Well,
So
he used his he came to the right conclusion using the wrong information. It don't mean Negro, but not because there was no Negro element before that time period. It just don't mean Negro because they made that up. Like, I mean, how could it mean Negro? That don't make no damn sense.
so they're saying that the only Negroid element would be that Sedanic.
That's old ass
Uh,
homework though. Like,
exactly.
so here's the thing. To know the field, we got to look over that old ass homework. But before like that's taking a claim from the early 1900s or even earlier and bringing it into 2025 as if their claim hadn't met no opposition yet. And they clearly worked all that out by now. You know what I'm saying?
But the conclusion, Smash, and I haven't found anything different. It says that what the consensus was, they took a little from both. It doesn't mean Negro only or Southern. It means Southern Negro.
No,
That's
they
what
just,
the
like
term.
I
No,
said,
that's
so they
not.
just basically, if we understand that, well, let's just analyze. How could it mean Negro? First of all,
Exactly.
in 2000 BC, there was no Portuguese language.
So, real quick, if you actually look at the context around the Hesi, and you read the text, the context around them, is more like speech, like magical spells and enchanting.
Well,
So,
no, I would disagree with that only because I'm familiar with Dr. Ben's work on that, and he actually so when we they if so Ta-Nehesi, so that would signify that there is an actual geographical land location.
but that don't take away from the actual word and what the
And
word.
he identified it. He identified that location probably between the second and third cataract, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but
true. But let
that
him
doesn't
finish what
take
he's saying, though.
Okay.
that doesn't take away from the actual word and what the word Nehesi means. So if you actually look when you see Nehesi in the text, the context that surrounds them is talking about speech or enchanting magic spells and things of that nature. So when you look at the word Nehesi, it's NHS. If you look at the two consonants NS and the hieroglyph for that phoneme, it's a tongue. So then you add on the H and you get Nahes.
Oh, but
And
now you're doing that wrong. But I'm gonna let you finish. I'll take a note of that. But you right.
well,
But I want to say something. Go keep going. That snake one ain't used in the word Nehesi, but you are right. You can find a nest with a snake. But keep going.
yeah, no, I'm not using the snake. I'm not saying the snake hieroglyph. The actual phoneme, the phoneme nis, right? The hieroglyph for that is a tongue. So I'm not coming with the snake approach. I'm coming from the speech approach. So the rootness, right, is represented by the tongue. So then you get Nehesi, and then you start to look at the context around them in the text. You start to see that they are represented by like speech and stuff like that, the way they talk or stuff like that, because these people were around these Semitic people that were coming into Egypt. So they were like bilingual in a sense, or they was able to speak a certain type of way. So that's what that's Nehesi is more like, refers to like their speech and how they talk and stuff like that.
I don't
So,
I
know.
would disagree. I would disagree only because Nehesi would include a lot of different people groups. It would include more than just, you know what I'm saying? It would include the people of Yam, the people of Punt, the Magi, the people of Wawat. All of those people will be included as Nehesi group.
So
The
there's
earth
No,
said,
they would.
there's something that's
yes, they
also said
would.
in
Yes,
Egypt.
they
Real
would.
quick, there's something they say in Egyptology saying that the Nubians spoke a different language. We got a little bit of evidence that some of the Southers did speak different languages, but we also got hella like the fix might be in with that shit, and they might have all just spoke the same Egyptian language.
Yeah, because even Taseti, even that first known would be technically could be considered Nahesi groups. I would argue that first, second, and third known up to Necken,
You said
that
it couldn't
food.
be considered the Hesse groups.
No, could be,
Oh, it's
would be.
definitely considered the Hesse
Yeah,
groups. Yeah, by all
yeah,
of them.
yeah. But at the same time, that's the first known.
but
I mean, those that's the first Sapat. Those are the first Sapats. And for Egyptian Sapats.
let me ask, what's his name? Sarah? Or whatever
Yeah,
his name
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Where could you show me that Nehesi has a tongue in it? Because I've never seen it. I could be wrong.
No, I already said it don't got that tongue in it.
So you guys gotta listen. So I said that the root nis ns is represented by the tongue hieroglyph.
Yeah, I know
When
I
you
heard you say that, but that was a mistake.
it's not. If you look at Gardner's list, it's gonna show it.
No, Gardner, so let me help you. The root ain't NS. The root is possibly NH.
You're saying possibly, but I'm showing why it's ns
Oh,
and why the root
but
is ns.
I can illustrate how that's an error. You can't skip over a consonant to define a root, bruh. So if the word is NHS, you're skipping over the H, throwing it out, and just saying NS is the root. That's not how you find a root.
But there's still no tongue in it, though.
Because you're
saying-
ignoring a consonant.
That's not ignoring the consonant. That's a different word that's being compounded. That's being compounded with another consonant. So the word is a variant of the word that we see nis because of when we look at the context. So let's look at some text of Nehesi.
Yeah, I'm
Let's
gonna
look
see
at
if
the
I can
text.
pull up. I might got some in my screenshots.
Let's look at this
You
text.
want to look at a real text or a rendition of Nehesi, the word Nehesi?
No, let's look at the text in the TLA with Nehesi.
All right. Let me pull
Well,
that up.
Smash, I can help him out there. I looked through several of them, and none of them have a tongue in it.
The phoneme for nis?
I had this conversation already privately with someone recently.
No. But the phoneme for NS,
No,
you're saying it's not a
None
tongue.
of
No,
them
it's not
have
gonna be there.
No. A S is not a tongue. A S is a doorbell.
No, I said NS. You keep skipping over what I'm saying. I mean, yeah.
Neither one of them are a tongue. An N
Okay.
nor an S. Neither one of them are tongue.
Okay.
What is
Yeah,
actually,
it don't. Yeah, that's you just. I feel you, but I feel your premise of what you're arguing, but
You made it up.
it don't add up. Just watch this.
I can tell him he's not gonna find this Smash. I just did it.
I already know. I'm just showing him.
I see the
Okay,
alternatives and
So
the
real
everything.
quick, we could peel that off. Just go to the Gardeners list and go to F20. Go to F20 and we'll see what I'm talking about right there with that.
Yeah, I
And
know what
then
you're talking about already. You're talking about the snake that got an N and an S. That's
that's
next.
not a snake. That's not a snake. It's a tongue.
All
It's a
right,
tongue hieroglyph.
a tongue that got an N and an S.
That's the phoneme for it. Yes.
But no, that's not used.
about the
That's
H?
not used in this word.
What are you saying is not used in the word?
You omitted the H.
So let me show you something. You see the word right here? Look. It says Southerner, right? Nubian, right? Now, there go the word. And where's the glyph you talking about?
Right, that's not Hesse, NHS.
So you're looking at a compounded word, okay? So you're gonna have to look at the context of when they're talking about these people and actually see how it refers to the root. So
That
let's
is
look.
not a compound word. That is one word. There's no compound word there.
Okay,
All right, well, I don't think you want to
okay.
call it a compound word because that thing is made up of two words, and then you have to tell us what the two words are.
Exactly.
There are not any two words there. That's one word.
It's definitely one word, but what we see is it is made up off of a root. The root is NH. So this is how we qualify that hella easily, right? You see the root, all you gotta do is go type NH and see if that is a word. If the root exists as its own word, then it's case closed. So let's see. NH, right? And you're gonna see that same bird pop up. Didn't the same bird just pop up? So now we got options at least as to no one has defined that the root is prayer or the root is fit or the root is this guinea fowl. Now, this is where you have to stop. Because in my research, as we see that this NA leads to the guinea fowl or he's questioning it as a divine being, we also see an NA for the guinea fowl right here. When we do research into the guinea fowl, we start to find out that it is from the areas where these people are from, right? And so now what we got is the nay, N-A, you see the nay, and if you put an S after it, we would create the word Nehes. And so that's giving us an indication that nay might be a root. Now, I'm gonna pull up the term you're talking about.
Go back to that. Go back to that. Go back to what you just showed, because I can't, I don't know why it's not showing.
Oh, because am I not showing it in the Zoom, huh? I should be.
All right, so you said it turns into Nehes. Where do you show that at?
If you add an S.
Where? To which one?
If I add an S, I'll just show you, like, let me show you, look. Add an S. It's going to be the same thing with just an S behind it.
Did you translate it? I wanted to, because I wanted to show where did it say inhale? Where did it say that at?
Let me go back. I think if you look at
you're gonna have to retranslate the page.
Yeah, I'll do it. Do it say inhale right here? A question.
There's still no talking any of those words, huh?
Yeah, so here's the deal. You look over here to see if any of them are attested.
Here you go. The root is to inhale, brother.
So you have to, let's slow down for a minute. Because for this definition where it says to inhale, before we do that, we got to look to the right. Look, it say verified, but it don't got no attestations of it.
That's fine, brother. But you see what's going on. You see the root says inhale. You see what's going on here.
No, I don't see the root says inhale.
It does say inhale. What are you talking about? It says right there.
There's a lot of things you have to account for.
It says the root to inhale.
Just calm down. Look, you're not accounting for this little check that's in front of the N and the H. You see that? These two got checks in front of that. The other two don't got those checks in front of that. So that might be indicating that this is some variant. If you trip off that, these just got NH, but these got this little. I'm calling it a check, but I know y'all see.
Yeah, but that don't really. That I'm substantiating that with this to inhale. I'm already substantiating that with what I was previously talking about when I was speaking about speech. So you start to see that they're alluding to the root being something dealing with the mouth or breathing and things of that.
You don't inhale speech.
Well, you don't. You're being anal. So it's
it's true. You don't inhale speech. You don't need to inhale speech
because you use your breath. You use your breath to speak. You use your mouth. You use that to speak. You need air to speak.
Inhaling has nothing to do with speaking, bro.
Right,
brother. Inhaling has to do with everything that has to do with your mouth.
No,
no. Yeah. When you vomit, Inhaling is only the little
What are you
blurts
talking
in
about,
between the
vomit?
vomiting. There are two different ways you can excrete things and you can inhale things. You see what I mean? Like inhaling, and they got a question mark next to that with no attestations. It's hard for you to go off that one. You know what I'm saying? I'm just telling
It's
you.
not when you actually use the evidence that surrounds inhale and things that's dealing with your mouth.
But
So you can
but
be
Sarah,
anal
but
about what
Sarah,
inhale and the way they're interpreting it, but if you actually look at the other evidence, you will see what that could actually mean and what it starts to come to when you get other words and the context around talking
but,
about Nehesi, even though we don't even have a official definition for
but did
Nehesi.
you get,
So
but
so
did you hear
you
what he
you
said just now, Sarah said? What he
you said
said is
what?
what he said is according to
Babylon Don don't know what he's talking about, by the way,
what
y'all. He
he said,
just like to
but hold
make
on.
comments.
What he's saying is according to that, they don't have any particular attestation that they can show you in this particular instance. It does not.
There's
It,
no listen, but listen though. There's no attestation that you can show for the definition of Nehesi meaning a Negro.
there is. There's
No, we
several.
No,
don't think it
no,
mean a Negro. We know it don't mean a Negro. But there's plenty
exactly.
of
So
attestations that we so that's falsified too. So you just
that
put
so
your attestation into a category of other falsified attestations.
You
you're
just made
false.
it up.
It can't be. It's falsified. And what's falsified? If I'm telling you, if I could show you the actual context and the hieroglyph that's actually representing the root that I'm even talking about, that's all consistent with the root that they're alluding to right here.
Man, you
So
messing
you
up,
made that
brother.
up.
We trying to help you.
What Smash is saying is, well, I'm going to tell you, if you look at Nehesi, they have attestations, which means they have copies of primary documents stating that this word is used in these documents.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at that particular word there, they say, well, we found something here that we think means this, but we don't have any particular writing or any dictionaries to say that this definitely means this. That is what he's telling you.
It even
And
has a question mark next to it.
There's no tongue. There's no tongue in any of those words. There's no mouth in any of those words. So it will have nothing to do with that at all. There's no tongue in any of those words. There's not. There's no mouth either.
But I mean,
There's no mouth and there's nothing close to a mouth in none of those words. Or tongue. Nothing. There's nothing
So
clarified with that with that glyph in it.
so I'm gonna read this real quick from
so
let
Babylon,
me read.
keep going. Go ahead.
So this is from the Fourth Cataract and Beyond, right? Proceedings of the 12th International Conference for Nubian Studies, right? This is let me see
You showing it? You
I'm
want to
trying to
show it?
find the name. I'm not on my computer.
It's
I
all
think you
good.
can share it, you know.
It's all good.
Hold on. So let me get
You can share
to
it on your
this
phone, you
real
know,
quick.
Sarah. If you go to the bottom, you can share what's on your screen.
But
So let me read this real quick. So
You can share it, Sarah said. Go to the bottom, you can share it.
it's talking this is talking about Nehesi, okay? So it says extraction and trade involving Nehesi treasurers produced a number of Nehesi Au, translated caravan leader, dragoman, or Egyptianized Nubian, versed in speaking native tongues. The word would be a metaphoric use of braying donkeys for babbling foreigners. Okay, so they're talking about the Nehesi and their speech, and it tells you that these people were um
Egyptianized Nubian. So what does that
were
mean? They speak Egyptian languages, right?
were versed in native tongues. So
Egyptian.
understanding history and the context around these people, we know that Nehesi were around these Aamu and these people, these Semites that were coming in. So they would have been also versed in their native tongue also. So
Amu only means nomadic
Man,
in
you
that
making some
instance.
stretches.
you're bringing up things that don't matter. What are you talking about? I'm talking
What do you
about the
mean?
context of the Nehesi and talking about their speech and what Nehesi actually refers
In
to.
the context of what you're talking about, it says that these are Egyptianized Nubians. So what does that mean? That these particular Nahesi groups are Egyptianized and they're following Egyptian customs. They're speaking Egyptian languages. They
Brother,
have
do
laws.
you not understand that these people were used to deal with foreigners? Do you not understand that they were around foreigners? They were in the Delta. They had regions in the Delta. I could show
We're
you
not
some of the
talking about the
names of
Delta right
those
now,
regions.
brother.
I could show you some of the names of those regions of that were called Nehesi in the Delta. I could show you the names of those places. So what you're not understanding is the context of what I'm saying is that the speech
You can
and
show
the
me a
tongue,
region that's called the Hesse and the
the
Delta. No, you
speech, the
can't.
speech,
No, you
the
can't.
speech, the
I'm gonna
speech,
call you on that, brother. You can't do
the
that.
speech, the speech around the people called Nehesi was somewhat highlighted in the history because of the people who they were dealing with and the things that they did. And you see that they called them Egyptianized Nubians, Egyptianized Nubians, because why? Because they were able to be in those positions to deal with foreigners and foreign trade and things of that nature. Are you forgetting that they sent these Nubians outside of Egypt and to do things and trade and such? Do you not understand that they had viceroys in these areas that were called
You're
biblos
still
and
not,
things of
Man,
that
you
start
nature?
gotta
not
listen to what
parsing.
you be repeating
You're still not
sometimes.
proving the point.
Keep conflating and jumping
So
all
how
over.
did what's the term? What's the ancient Egyptian term for Egyptianized Nubians?
Nehesi
Note the
Au.
different lips there.
Nehesi Au.
So do that mean Nehesi Au is? We got also mean they got this Au on it. Is that a second word or is that like
Yes,
what?
that's the second word.
No, it's not.
Yes, it
It's a
is. And you don't even know what you're talking about because how are you gonna say no? It's not if you're not
why
if
are
you're
you
not
I'm
looking
not
arguing
at the
with
looking
me?
at
text.
his source. I gotta take him for what
How
he
are you
said. He
not?
said it's a
How are we
second
gonna say what
word.
it's not if you're not looking at if you're not even looking at it?
Yeah, he looking at the source. He's saying it's written with a space.
Yes, but Smash, I told him several times he could share it and he's not sharing it.
Well, you
Joey,
know what? I'm just
calm
saying
down. It's
that's
not. It's not that serious.
No,
I think the AAU or whatever the extra term on the Nehesi is what's getting them classified as Egyptianized Nehesi. That might be a position. So these are like some, you're right, they're like some translators, these dudes. But you think about it, the languages they know more would be of the people of the South. I don't know what make us think they would be translators for Aamu.
No,
right.
maybe their tongue is more southern, but that doesn't take away from the fact of the languages that they would know that would be foreign to the southern languages that you're saying that they come from, because you have actual Nubians in the Delta region. They're living there. They're doing
That
things
doesn't,
there.
but because they speak another language, that doesn't make them foreigners.
What are you talking about?
Hold on, Joy. Also,
Another language
you
doesn't make
also
them foreigners.
no, it doesn't. And
What
Joy,
I don't get
listen.
what you're saying.
Hold on, sorry. Listen to this. You keep mentioning the Delta. You do know that there's the access through like was not through the Delta all the way for Semitic speakers. It
Huh?
was coming through so the access. So you keep saying the Delta. So are you saying that the only access that the Nehesi groups would have had to the Semitic speaking would be through the Delta?
No, what I'm telling you is that the context that surrounds Nehesi, this word Nehesi, is related to speech more than anything. And when you look at the history around these people, is that they were in regions to where they would have been able to have access to interpreting different languages that other than their own native and other than their own native language.
What was their
And
name?
they
And
were like,
this is proven because they actually have names for the regions in the Delta that they lived in, called Nehesi.
well, what was the script?
I think you just
Can you say
confusing
that
hella
again?
stuff to make your point, bro.
What was the script?
So what if
Brother,
they lived in the Delta? So what that
it's
mean?
very simple. Nehesi were versed in native tongues. They were around different groups that spoke different languages. The Egyptians used them as translators for certain jobs. It's that simple.
But that is true, but they only used them for translators with the languages they knew. And it would be an indication that they knew a lot of the southern languages. That's all I'm saying. Like they would be in
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you
it's
mean they
trade
would have
coming
only
from
been
hella different
used?
directions,
But
right?
no, but what do you mean by they would have only been used for the languages they know?
Well,
What do you mean by that?
just exactly that. Like, how you gonna get somebody to translate a language they're not familiar with?
Brother, I've just told you that Nehesi were living in regions other than this southern box that you're putting them in.
But I'm just
They
saying, you
were
making a
around
fake category.
Semites.
So were other people. So were Egyptians. Like
But I'm
I'm
telling you
trying
that
to
the
see how them
Nehesi were
living in other
used.
regions would make them be the people more technologically advanced at languages. I'm familiar with the attestation you're talking about the Egyptianized Nubians. And even if you read the whole text, you're gonna see they were in the southern regions. You taking other attestations you know about them being in the virus and coming to your own conclusions.
Well, it's not coming to my own conclusions because they were actually living there and they were actually interacting with these Semites. So if you're
Right.
taking the fact that the attestation that I'm using to show that these people were versed in different languages to try to like impose that every Nehesi was the same way. No, I'm not doing. What I'm showing you is that people that they call Nehesi that are versed in different languages were also around people who spoke Semitic languages. Egyptians also traded with people who spoke Semitic languages. They wrote in the Akkadian script. I mean, in the
But we
cuneiform
know.
script. In the
Oh,
cuneiform script. So you're saying that they wrote in the cuneiform script and they didn't get any help from the Hesi that were around Semites, even though they were using them for translating other things?
Yeah, it ain't no evidence that they got any. You just like I'm just going off text and stuff. You just making up stuff. What evidence you got that somebody doing any cuneiform text got help from Nancy?
Brother, first of all, we could just deal with the fact that we have evidence of Nubians being in Ugari. You're the one who even put me up
I
on
know,
that.
but even that don't attest to them helping them with their own language. It's so many cuneiform texts way before we find them in Ugarit. It just mean they was
It's
there.
so many cuneiform texts that we get while we actually see Nehesi in the Old Kingdom being in the Delta region, in the Lower Egypt
I don't
region.
disagree with that. They were all over the place, and so were a lot of other people.
So
What
how
I'm
can you
asking
take
you, what's giving them this prowess with languages so that they would just be able to help with cuneiform because they got native languages? That's awesome stuff that you just tying together. You feel what I'm saying?
that's not anything being tied together when we have evidence for them being in these regions at the same time
Or do you
the
got
Semites
evidence
are
of
in the
them?
region.
You got evidence
That
of them
doesn't make
helping
any
with
sense.
cuneiform? Do you have any Nubian transmission in cuneiform?
Do I have any what?
Any Nubian correspondence that was written in cuneiform?
Um, you can.
no.
I could probably. I could find
Nah, hell no, you
some
ain't
text.
got that.
You making up stuff.
I can find text. I can find text.
So that's
Okay.
in the future. I'm talking about, do you have it now?
Have what?
Any Nubian correspondence that's in cuneiform?
No.
No.
Not that I could think of right off the rip. No.
All right. Well, I will give you something to say back to me. I will ask, what language? Remember that Kush? Remember the letter that the Hyksos writ to? I mean, the
Yeah, I
Hyksos
was just gonna
supposedly
bring that
wrote
up.
to the Kushite king.
That was intercepted.
Yeah. But Kamo supposedly read it. What language do we all think that was in?
Akkadian.
So you think it was in cuneiform?
Probably so.
I mean, that's something you can look into. Like it ain't
So
no.
yeah, that's definitely possible. But that's just referring to what I was just referring to, instances to where you have these Southern people, Nahesi people,
But that's a diplomatic. That's a diplomatic language, Chris.
interacting with Semites, or alluding to having a relationship with Semites.
No,
Not
they got
only
plenty
that,
of
we're
relationships with Semites, but that's not making Nehes root mean in
Right.
hell, or the word to do, or the word to have anything to do with speech. That's what I'm saying. We so far down the line. You saying some correct things, but you making some connections that don't naturally connect.
So I
You learned some new information.
I never connected the word that I'm saying that the root is nis. I've never said that's connected to the speech and things that, like, them talking and stuff. What I'm saying is that what you see is that the word becomes a variant that is related to what you see when you look at the phoneme nis, and the hieroglyph that's represented for it is a tongue, and you see a variation of this of
Where,
this when
where do
you
you see that, Sarah? Where do you see that?
when
Where
you
do you see that?
right here.
Just looked it up in the TLA and he didn't see any word with a tongue in it.
Not at all. It's a head and
I
a.
just said, I did not, I'm not connecting those things. I said it's a variant. So that doesn't
If
mean
it
it has to
was, there
share,
would be.
it doesn't need to share the same IDEO. It can have a different IDEO to
No,
represent,
no, it would not.
to represent it.
It would.
So
It would not.
yes, it would, because it's now it's talking about a group of people. So yes, it would
No,
have a different IDEO. Yes, it would.
no,
Yes, it would. There's
no.
words that Ka has different IDEOs. So you're gonna sit there and tell me that a phoneme can't have different IDEOs?
So where is Ta-Nehisi?
Different glyph.
Make it make sense.
About totally different
All right,
glyph.
so why do they use the neighbor in the glyph, in the word?
I'm not sure.
He just explained to you. You weren't listening.
The same reason they use the Rickety bird to refer to the Rickety people.
And the Rickety people are from where?
The South.
They from the north. They were originally mostly found in the north. And I don't know if that bird is from that region, because I had not done that survey. But this is something that you need to keep in mind, Sarah Sin. That neighbor bird there is not found in Egypt. It is found in the south, deep in the south. It's actually a non-migratory terrestrial bird, you know what I'm saying, that it don't migrate and it walk. And so for ancient Egyptians to even encounter it at a time when it could go into their the orthography of their lexicon or whatever, it would have to have been at a time when they at least knew about the bird, right? And since it didn't migrate to Egypt, some could propose it came to Egypt in trade, or they encountered it in trade with Southern people. But then how is this, how would this name be formed? I don't know. It's just basically, how do you form a name of any word with a Southern bird that ain't in your region? You see what I'm saying? At these early times, you must have either came from the South or encountered the bird in the South somehow, right?
Maybe.
Well, that's giving us, since that we know that Nahesi means Southern, and that this bird that they use to write it is a bird that you only find in the South. We can't draw anything conclusive from that, but it's a strong indication that they might have simply used the bird in this word because of the people's Southern roots.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah, it's just like when you use the Sioux plant and the B in the word Nasut Bidi. One represents the South, the one represents the North.
And then the sedge plant for this. That's the M26. Yeah, that's the sedge land.
Right. That is where it comes. Right. That is what it represents, and that is what Smash is telling you. That is why they use that particular bird.
That doesn't take away from the fact that these groups of people can migrate and be circulating from north to south in all different types of places. You're
No,
you're
but
you're
it tells you a good idea of the
you're
origin
horning
of the
in on
word.
the word. You're horning in on the word. That's like saying, oh well, since they use this word for they use this glyph to refer to this group of Egyptians, that means that they weren't in this area, so they can't be referred or relate to something else. Like I don't get that.
You still haven't proven your point that the word relates to speech. That is what we're
You
saying.
said what?
You
You
still
said
haven't
what?
proven your point that
So
the
this is
word
the word he was talking about. When we put an N and an S without the H, we're gonna see this. Now, y'all, you see this tongue here on the
not
NS word. Now you just got the wrong term. It's all good, but you said it
Okay, it
wasn't a
means
snake; it was a tongue. I mean, you said it wasn't a snake; it was a tongue. You see, it's a word for tongue, right?
for tongue. It means tongue,
Right,
literally tongue.
tongue,
It literally
right?
means tongue.
It's really like a bull's tongue, but we could
Mhm.
talk about that more. How the now see, this word will never get none of these words that are formed off the NS root. See, they're showing us all the words formed off the NS root. None of these words will be the term of scrutiny. It's not the word we're talking about. It's not related to the term we're talking about. And they got all of the terms that were built off of that root right here.
You would have been better off saying in this soup was the tongue of God, as he is considered to be that, and we call him the little God. But the Nahi, which is the bird, and our brother Shat 12 actually dropped this. Now, Nahi, in some of the text in that article he just dropped, plus in other texts that I have that I mentioned before, talks about being the Ba bird, and it also talks about being the soul because it's Asar, and they mention Asar as the Nubian or the Nehi. So you be better off in that route with that and with actual text to back that statement as opposed to reaching with the idea like in the Bible, which you can find shoe. When you look for breath, you'll find shoe more related to the breath.
Mhm. Asar himself being the Nehi alone should let him know that it's not related to speech or language.
Yeah, how you been, Asar?
Good, famo, just sick.
Oh,
Driving through damn Utah.
get
I
well
was about to
soon.
hit you up. I thought I was going to be in Cali, but I wasn't.
Oh, you know what? I got a show. We got a show in September at Red Rock in Denver. You in Denver?
Yeah, I seen y'all. I shared it. I'm gonna be down
Yeah,
there
we
when you
gonna be at
come
Red
down here.
Rock. Come through. I'll put you on the list. It's good.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me
Uh,
see.
hold up. I put my name to put
But
under there.
Cyrus saying I'm not. That's all I think. I do know that if you look further into that, I was trying to find the attestations you talking about when they was talking about the Egyptianized Nubians. I think I wrote something on it, but I don't know how to recall it. But
So, hey, real quick. So, go. So we have an attestation here, right? So it says, Nubia is taught the language of Egypt, Syria, and all foreign countries as well. So we gotta make this. Let's make this make sense, brother.
yeah,
Let's make this make sense because I just said this.
but what? So what does that mean? That is true.
But no, because y'all was just on my neck about, well, how would we know that they would have been talking these different languages? It tells you right here in the text. Nubia is taught the language of Egypt, Syria, and all foreign countries as well.
But
This is from the
that
20th. This
doesn't.
is from the
All right, just
20th
real quick.
dynasty.
That doesn't attest to what you were first even claiming.
Brother,
You
we are
claim
talking about the
if
Nehesh.
your state real quick, let me finish. If your attestation said Nubia taught, Because you said they the translators, right? But that's saying they're learning it. They're being taught it. If you're saying, okay, well, they're being taught it so
Brother,
that they
by
can
who?
go.
But it's like you're inferring that they were being taught by some other, like they weren't teaching themselves or in their groups, or like you're inferring
Well,
something
what does
that's
the
not even
text
there.
say?
The point is what my point was from the jump, is
What does the
that these
text say?
Nahesi people are associated with being bilingual and speaking different native
That
tongues.
doesn't
But
mean
That's
sorry,
what
but
I'm.
sorry,
That's what my point
So
was from the
nobody
jump.
ever, I don't even think you got no disagreement there. We was trying to give you the context of it. What I always said in that regard was those Egyptianized Nubians was used for like Southern trade. That's all I said in that regard. And you was
They
like,
could have been
how I
used
know
for
that,
southern.
go ahead.
They could have
also
been used
Smash.
for southern trade. Go ahead. Go
Hold
ahead.
on, hold on, Sarah. Let me make a point real quick. Also, would you not agree that sometimes the Egyptians had a policy to go to Nubia, prisoners of war, take the elite, raise those children, teach them the Egyptian language, and then send them back as viziers in regards to trade to help them. Do you understand what I'm saying? To Egyptianize those. That's
Brother,
the
the
policy.
point we're talking about Nahesi being
Mhm.
associated with being bilingual, okay,
I just said it. They were taught by Egyptians.
in different native tongues. You cannot
Mhm.
put them in a box and say that, well, they were only associated with different native tongues that were in the southern regions, when we already have a bunch of proof that they were all over the place. And I just showed you in the text that they are literally saying
it
that they
doesn't
are
say
versed in
Hold on, we
all
about to
languages.
end this right now.
Hold on,
sorry.
hold on, hold on, hold on. And I brought hold on. I also brought up Ugari, and you fought back on that. And what did it say? Syria. It literally tells you Syria, and they're most likely speaking about the area Ugari, because when you look at the evidence, that's where the Nubians are at in Ugari.
The
Yeah, they're,
Nubians are in Ugarit.
The
yeah,
Nubians are in Ugarit. Ugarit is right there on the coast, and that was a spot where the people who were coming from the Aegean would
Nah,
travel
Ugarit,
to
Ugarit
you
is
gonna
in
to
have
bring
to
their
let
to
that
bring.
go, blood, because we do too much homework. Let me just beat the brakes off you real quick. You looking?
Ugarit
Go
is
ahead,
in it's in
go ahead, because
Ugarit.
you
Ugarit is in
just
Turkey.
I just showed the text that they were bilingual in all different languages, but you guys tried to box them in and only being
You did,
versed in southern
Sarah,
languages.
Sarah,
So show me what you about to show me now.
So
Sarah, you
no,
didn't
no, no. It's not even.
address.
It's for us to
Yeah,
get.
that's crazy. I need to
This
smoke.
is. This might
I'm gonna
help you. You know how we do on the show. You
we
can
all be
use this how
talking.
you want to use it. But let's look at this real quick. So I came to the text corpus to pull up the text we referring to, and I put Egyptianized English. Click search, and we come back to this attestation. So just real quick, in the text corpus, the word they have for Egyptianized, they have these two attestations. Neither of them, for some strange reasons, have Nahesi in it, right? So in your source, it says the term is Nahesi A'au. But here we have some Hori Ayu. I see the Au, right? So he would be the leader of the Au. Now here is something I want. It's a document that you can read and it's going to help you figure this out.
Tim
That
Suhor.
the Au term just means that you associated with the officialdom. So if you,
No,
huh?
go ahead, finish. I'm gonna pull up. I got a source. I'm gonna try to share this source, but go
So,
ahead, finish.
all right, I'm gonna pull up the work on it just to teach you. Damn.
and
But
remember,
Sarah,
Horus is always associated
Like
directly with
cats
the
be
test
reading hella much and
when
be
we
giving you the
pulled up.
straight shortcut,
Yeah,
right?
remember
And
the
then you
four.
don't even want to take
Pull
the
up the
shortcut, so it's gonna make it take longer. So let me show you. We're gonna look up Kate Liska's work on the
right.
Magi about the same term that I'm trying to tell you about, family, right? And so I'm going to go to, and she's the one who put me in touch with Jonathan Winterman, by the way. When I hit her with my meta-netter question, she said, these questions ain't for me. Take him to Jonathan Winterman. So we're gonna come to academic.com and look up Kate Litzka. And the document you need that we would like to look over is about Magi, right? So let me just click her thing and look at all her documents. You can go ahead while we pull up this document and notice how we're going to be tripping off this term you're talking about. Look, can you read this for me? Hold on, let me go back. Hold on. Can somebody read that for me? What does it say right there?
The name Jonathan Owens
is mentioned in a paper in Kate Litzka. That's right.
in a paper, Kate Litzke research Asian mining.
I don't think she's talking about me.
Nah,
Hold on.
about you.
Replacing ethnicity and investigation. Hold on. Evidence in pastoral nomads. But this the one you want. 8 magi walking in the palace. Mistranslation of people in contact. Either that one. She's going to show you how this term "ao" here. Let's find it. It means that they down with the government, because they also got mija'u a'a'u is what we find in this document. And so here it goes. So no, that's mija'waru. I just want to try to see how long it takes us to find it. And she in her work put forth that this term simply meant that they down with the officialdom.
What is the term that's for the police that became silent police? Is that Magi?
None of those terms mean police. So
yeah,
we could get into that too. We can get into that too. But let's get into this, because I've read this. I understand this source, but go ahead.
No, you're right.
Go ahead.
None of those terms mean police. I just want to point out the term of scrutiny we talking about is the a'u that's amended on the nehesi at the end. And I was saying when we see that on the term, it's talking about these nehesi are part of the officialdom, so to speak. They down with the government. And that's why they say Egyptianized Nubians. And so...
Yeah, but Smash, isn't Egyptianized Nubian sort of a deceitful term?
I mean...
What?
That's them. I mean, that's the way that the Egyptologists translated it.
Yeah, that's an interpretation.
Right. But what I'm saying is, they're trying to make you feel that they're different people, and historically, that's not really true.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of a backwards term. Because really, the Nehesi spread their culture.
Yeah.
And when they spread their culture, Egypt is formed, which would mean Egyptians are really Nubianized or Nehesianized, if you will, but yeah. Remember, they try to say that the information comes from out of Egypt, from the north, and comes into Egypt. But remember, when we went over the 4 different people that are in the Dua, we go to the Chenahu, we go to the Nehesi, we go to the other 2 groups that are there. Horus is over the Nehesi alone, and he says they're first.
Right, but what I'm saying is, when you look at the primary attestation, they tell you that whole culture comes from the south. They're not.
I just said that right there by saying that Horus is over the Nehesi alone.
Right, but what I'm saying
and
is,
they come first. So if they come first, we already know the culture is coming from south.
From the south, yeah.
Going north. But if we're talking about the association of Horus with them, which was what he was showing. So if Horus is over the top of them in those inscriptions in the Mdua, showing that they're the first, and then you get the other people afterwards, then we know that they would be Nubianized Egyptians as opposed to.
Well, we don't. Well, let's not do that. They're really the same people. That's what that's what I'm getting at. They're not different people.
So basically, as I was saying earlier, like I said, Taseti, the first known, then we get up to Efu, Nekin, the second known. Those are all Horus cults, like you said, Shemsu Hor. Yep. So that's where it starts at.
Yep.
The south.
Yep.
Okay, so why would you infer that when these people are versed in different tongues, that Egyptians, however you are characterizing these different people, are teaching them this language or something like that? I don't understand that. And you're sitting here literally saying that their culture comes from them.
Well, the Nahesi learned different languages concerning, right? So remember, when this group couldn't talk to this group, the Nahesi still was always the key to unlock it.
Thank you.
It's because the language starts in the South.
Thank you. So
And
let's
they are the interpreters.
Smash. Look, where I'm waiting on Smash because I'm about to pull out this source.
All right, hold on. Because that wasn't the right paper.
And if you want to share it, Sarah, you touch the screen, go to the bottom, and you can slide it over to share, and you can share it.
At this point, nothing we say gonna matter to him because he don't want to understand.
You'll also note.
I want to see what you're looking at. He could share it. Go to the bottom, touch it, go to the bottom, and slide it over, and you can share it.
So you'll also note this, right? So the Nahesi are the people who always go to save people.
Yes.
Right? So if they always go to save the people, how you gonna save them if you can't talk to them to assess what's going on? So as they go to save these people, they're gonna start to learn different languages.
Exactly.
They're gonna be endowed.
That doesn't make them foreigners, though. That
doesn't make them what?
It doesn't make them foreigners because they speak other languages.
Bro, you're inserting that.
Right.
Nobody is saying anybody is a foreigner.
Then
and
what is your point?
My point is getting lost. The point that I made is that these Nahesi people are associated with speaking different languages. That's highlighted in when we look at the evidence when we're looking at this ancient history in the context around Nahesi. So
what is
my
your
point was what I was alluding to was that maybe Nis could possibly be really where we get the word Nahesi. And because of how much of the speech context is around them.
You're wrong.
What I'm showing, what I'm not. Hold on, Joey, chill, because I've already made my point with the text, and then I'm gonna show. I already made my point with the text.
Sarah, we showed you in the TLA. That word that
I showed you in the TLA that they are talking about they're talking about Nahesi being versed in all languages, which was my point.
No, that didn't. You messed that up.
Now the only reason why the Nahes with the S is not obligated to that is because their name is based off of Nehi, the bird.
Mm-hmm.
The bird is the Ba bird, is for the soul. So it's the soul bird. It's also associated with Asar. So because it's based off the soul and Asar, we know it's not the tongue per se. Later, when they come with the term Nesu Beti, the Nesu, which is the plant, is also the Nesu, the king, is associated with the tongue, with the word of nature.
Man, I know what I'm talking about. Oh, keep going.
They don't associate.
No, he's talking about the word. He's talking about how the word Nesu is related to what I'm basically the word that I'm talking about.
I'm sorry. I just have found my attestation. I'm gonna go after.
Did you pop in there?
I'm gonna go after. All right. So look. So I finally found this. Now it says this is Kate Liska's work, like I said earlier, but I looked at the wrong work. This is called Magi number 188 on the Mastercon of I'm in the Moat. Now it says the reading of Mijah Atu in the Mastercon of I'm in the Moat. Now here's the thing. The term you said was something like Au, right? Now, this is what just happened. When I put Egyptianized Nubians, if y'all see the screen, into the TLA, they came back with this. Look at this. Is the I? We see a J, which represents the I or Y sound here. And then we see two A's or whatever and a W. I, two A's and a W. And this means the upfront or the chief most or the leader of, so they say the sub-supervisor of the foreign language speakers, under director of Egyptianized Nubians. So that means we got to get Egyptianized Nubians and all of this out of this term right here. There is no Nahesi with it, if y'all peeping gang with that. And to furthermore prove, they got another one who is the overseer of the foreign language speakers, or not foreign language translators, but the foreign language speakers, inspector of the Egyptianized Nubians. It would be Sej, I guess, Aau or whatever. So this is or Aau, that I think is the same term that you said where it say Nehesi Aau, but you never shared the screen, so we couldn't tell. But just
That's
know,
the same term. That's the same term.
okay, now trip off this term. Now we got no T in here, but watch this. When we comes to Atu, which is a similar term, and I want you to see how they got to this term. The reason why is because it's just a foot and some legs, and she has to render it how it would be rendered. So we just got what would be considered a T, and a W, and finding, which is not Au, but is fairly similar to that same term. And when used in conjunction with magi here, it simply means a member of the official